the convergence of blockchain and AI. Now, with AI, you can expect within this year, we're going to see deepfake so real, you cannot tell the difference. People watching this on live stream, they will not know what's in here.
We're not here.
We're having dinner somewhere else. So to counter that, you will need some form of digital watermark. That is actually a cryptographic evidence
that you're
this
real.
is real.
Yeah.
It's my signature, his signature.
Who puts that? The tech companies? By the way, they're so excited at the back. They're trading crypto on the back of all these comments.
It's all your fault. No, we control our private key. It's going to be a private public
It'll
key.
be personal.
We'll have control.
It's going to be like your irises, your fingerprints. It'll be a digital.
But it's stored on blockchain,
and
witnessed by the global population.
Everybody knows.
Cannot be faked.
Yeah. But does this change everything for just capital markets?
It will. Yeah, I mean, my gosh, if we could tokenize bonds and stocks tomorrow, one of the great things that BlackRock is being accused of is how much vote we have. I wouldn't vote anymore because we would be able, through tokenization, to know the owner of record instantaneous, and each owner of record will do their proxy voting. I would love that outcome. No, but it would democratize investing in all ways that we can't imagine.
Even political systems, how you vote in a country, can be changed by that.
And do you think that, again, the Trump administration will accelerate that?
I think they're moving that direction. How far they actually will go remains to be seen.
But if you do have a digital validator, like your fingerprints or your irises, I mean, you could tokenize voting. You could do everything. And so it will change how we think and how we live and what we do. And
we've been talking to some Southeast Asian governments, including Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia. All of them historically have the populations who are trading black market bitcoins and what have you. But now the governments are realizing U.S. is driving a global policy shift. So they're now doing something very clever. They're saying, you know what, we're going to issue a new form of digital ID to every single citizen. Along with that is a digital wallet.
Which Brazil,
that's when people
which Brazil and India has already done.
You're both so
That is our job. We don't run government, we don't run policies, but we have the intellectual capacity to frame a conversation. You understand? Let me now conclude by making you sad. The Nigerian Civil War was planned on the campus of the University of Ibadan. Somebody has to write a book on that, in which the Vice Chancellor, a prominent historian, you already know I'm talking about, was also using his house to frame the project of the Civil War. You understand? And I'm not criticizing him, because when you cut segments of a conversation, it becomes a problem to those who are interpreting it. I'm not criticizing him. The Nigerian Civil War was led by an educated person who trained in England, one of the very first to have a degree to join the Nigerian army. The debates about Ironsi was framed for him by those who went to school on a unitary government. You understand? It is not that these intellectuals have not been talking, but they are also embedded in this very project you want to solve. So in the final analysis, you see how interest governs politics. And as interest drives politics, the very fact that you have a PhD doesn't mean you will think the way you are talking about. And let
We suffer from a serious hazard which Hong Kong, Taiwan and Korea do not. In Hong Kong, the British Western influence is superficial. So there is no danger of being overwhelmed, of having your original culture displaced. Our danger is that we've got so much of EL1, books, newspapers, magazines, TV, that we could become a pseudo-Western society. Not a real Western society. If you're a real Western society, that's another matter. But you become a pseudo-Western society, a fake one. That's a disaster. The problem is with the upper crust. Many people believe that that segment at the top represents Singapore. It does not. There is the ground undertow of your society. And it is our business to keep that undertow Asian. And therefore we have to preserve our society from being transformed. And when you have this offshore press trying to set the pace, we say, off with thee, this is my society.
To win a senatorial seat is now between 1.2 billion, 1 or 2 billion. You need that to win a Senate seat. To win a House of Reps, you need another 1 billion. State House of Assembly, you need about 500 M to win that. To win governorship, you need, depending on the state, for Delta, you need about like 20. For Rivers, you need about 25 billion. For some of those states in the north, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 billion. So it's a capital intensive project, which is what is driving the corruption in our country right now. So every time somebody is in office, it is not education the person is thinking of. Except if whatever he wants to do in education will provide some money that they can leverage on when the time for election comes.
There are two questions, and I have a third issue that I think, Ruben, you need to address. But let me start with the questions you have raised. I think first, the issue of INEC. I think everybody is fairly aware that INEC, as presently constituted, has lost a lot of credibility. And it is very important that the institution gains this credibility. Otherwise, the stability of the country is going to be threatened, because when you have institutions that are not delivering, and especially a key institution like INEC, and if this failure continues, then it will erode not only, confidence in INEC, but confidence in democracy itself. And when that happens, you know the consequences. So let me come back to INEC. I think there are amendments that the whole country is waiting for. For example, that amendment, which I think late President Buhari refused to give assent to, which mandates INEC to use electronic tools and to use technology in delivering the result, is still pending. But more importantly, why should the president, whoever is the president of the country, who is an interested party in the election, be the one to propose the
Welcome
head
back.
of INEC? I think late Waste Committee has made very good recommendations which have been blocked by those who are interested in manipulating INEC. I think we have to rescue INEC by making sure that the head of INEC is not appointed by a sitting president who is going to be interested in election. So there are a number of things that needs to be done. I'm not sure there is sufficient time for us to raise that, but I think the key issues are two. One, that INEC's credibility is at stake, and two, we have got to insulate INEC from political interference. If that doesn't happen, then it is the democracy that is holding the country that's being actually run down. And when that happens, there are consequences. The second question, if I remember correctly, which you raised, is where do we go from here? I mean, considering what former President Jonathan said. And I think it ties down with the issue that I really think you should be raising, because the whole gathering in Accra is around the crisis of democracy, that democracy is not delivering the expectations of the people. And in Nigeria, if you take the statistics from 1999 to date, that's about 25 years. If you take the indices of development, whether you are taking the paternal and maternal mortality rates, or if you are taking the GDP, the growth in the economy, if you are taking all the indices of development that you take, you will see that from 1999 to date, we have been going down the drain. In fact, the GDP for this year is said to be much lower, actually about less than half of what it was in 1960. In other words, this country, under this democracy, is actually going down the drain. And it is time to really ask, of what use, of what benefit is democracy if it cannot really deliver? Is democracy made for the people or people for democracy? If democracy is supposed to serve society, then it has failed in Nigeria. And it is time to start thinking of how do we really bring about a system that can work for us. I watched the debate from beginning to the end, and I was saddened by the fact that the elite that gathered there could not think out of the a box of Western frame of thinking. In other words, they were all, and especially the guest speaker himself, he was going round and round while admitting the failure of democracy. He was still saying that we should stick to democracy. And that doesn't make sense. I mean, you have admitted that this system has failed to deliver. And you are saying that we should still hang on to it.
To the morning show here on Arise News. As we head towards the 2027 election, opposition parties appear to be facing internal crises that continue to destabilize them. While opposition figures frequently project confidence in defeating the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, the party's organizational strength, geographical spread, and internal cohesion continue to give it a formidable advantage. However, Nigeria's opposition appears to be confronting a structural and strategic dilemma that may ultimately determine whether the country witnesses a genuinely competitive electoral contest or a continuation of APC dominance. Joining us on the show to discuss the build-up to the 2027 general elections and the cry from opposition parties that the APC is not allowing a viral opposition is Obafemi George, a political scientist. Good morning, Mr. George. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Mr. George.
Yes, Dr. Abate.
A big allegation in the room, the big elephant in the room, to use the proper phrase, is that Nigeria is moving towards a one-party state. Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, ADC alleges, other political parties allege, is part of this conspiracy. Some people call it a coup against the Nigerian people. Some go further and say, well, since it looks like the outcome has been predetermined, ahead of the 2027 elections. Why don't you just suspend the election and proclaim APC as a winning party? What do you say about the one-party state allegation and also the dominance, what they say is overwhelming dominance of the APC, over 2/3 of the National Assembly, 31, 32 out of the 36 states and the FCT.
Thank you, Dr. Ruben. I think that allegation is false, and I'll tell you why I say it is false. First of all, there's an unfolding trend that bothers me in our political culture. In those days, before you come out to make such an allegation, you put out the facts that any illiterate can read. But because of social media and because we have a younger generation that have very short attention, lifespan, they're not patient for details. Someone just throws out a lie and someone tweets it, and within 3 hours, 400 tweets, and it just catches fire on its own. And that's what we're witnessing. Let's go to the facts of the matter. If you flip the coin, it's that opposition haven't lived up to expectation. The issues that they've put out there within the ADC, nobody has come out to give me one single fact to pinpoint APC has been part of this. When in 2003, I'm sure you will remember, when the ruling party then stifled opposition in the Southwest and kicked out all AD governors, with the exception of Lagos State, there were facts on the table. As a matter of fact, I remember very well, there's a senior political scientist from the University of Atiku there, one Dr. Kunle Ajayi, who did a compendium of facts of what PDP then did in 2003, which was published in the Journal of Social Science early 2006. So anybody can go and read. Likewise, in 2007, when the ruling party also oppressed the opposition and found their way to win the presidency, the EU observers came out and gave all the facts. And it was so bad that even the president, then President Yar'Adua, owned up to say the process that produced me is faulty. And that was what led to the 2010 Electoral Act, that, we need to overhaul the entire system. Again, my third example, in 2014, when the ruling party then, PDP, compromised the electoral process in the government, in the election of Ekiti State, the facts were there. We saw video recording of how a banker moved 1.2 billion naira cash. We had audio recordings of how an army general provided covering for a governor to win the elections. Those are facts. Those are allegations based on fact. All the things that ADC have been saying, nobody has come out to give one single evidence to say, this is what APC has done to influence whatever is going on.
Except that certain issues are not about facts, about evidence, not being a courtroom matter. How about perception?
So when you're talking politics, if there are no facts, you cannot build a mountain on perception. No, you can't. It has to be evidence-based. That is why we call it political science. It's a science. It's not an art. That's number one. Number two, now let's drill down to the issue of ADC itself. And this is why I say that even the opposition party, they've not given up a good fight in terms of opposition. When the cameras are off and the lights are turned off, I am sure when they sit down like this, they will tell themselves that, I think we goofed. We didn't do enough due diligence. Dr. Ruben, the ADC Constitution, now this is APC, ADC Constitution states clearly that, I think it's Article 17, that every official of the party shall be elected for a single term of 4 years, and that they can stand for re-election for another term of 4 years. That's what Article 17 of their own constitution, that's what it says. And Article 18 states that no official can stand for election beyond 2 terms. Ralph Unwosu was elected as chairman in 2005. And he was there till 2025. That is 20 years. That is not just 3rd-term agenda. That's a 5th-term agenda. You don't need a lawyer to interpret that. By their own constitution alone, What that means is that whatever he did beyond 2013 was illegal.
Maybe Kachiku said as much.
All right. Okay. Let me come in. So the accusation, and by the way, it's not just an ADC conversation this morning. It's opposition parties as a whole and APC's dominance. And I think it's important to mention that some of the things you accused the PDP, the APC could also have been said to do that. When you talk about evidence, Governor Seyi Makinde has come out to talk about a meeting that was held with FCT Minister Wike, who said he was going to work in the PDP to work for the support of President Tinubu as a presidential candidate, and he has done that successfully. Today, the PDP is in disarray. So you can talk about when you say influence. I'm coming.
He said it's different from
I want to give you a few more
evidence.
No, I want to give you a few more because you're saying in the area of that. So that's one in terms of where you're saying that okay, the disarray is not coming from there's no connection. That's one. Number two, with APC dominance is the situation in Osun State. Osun State is not an APC state. The governor moved from PDP to the Accord Party currently. But their local government funds are being withheld based on some technicalities. This was the same thing that was done to the Tinubu administration in Lagos State, as governor of Lagos State, by the PDP government at the time. And he fought, and a number of people stood behind him, and he would say he won against that.
And he went to court.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the same thing is happening under his administration in a state that is governed by a governor that is not under his party. Then you talk about inducement or the process by which it's elected. The same EU you talk about with that Yaradua election also criticized the election that brought President Tinubu into office, saying that it wasn't free, fair, and credible. We know the Rivers situation. We saw that happen. We saw in election results, the IREV matter. So the same things you're saying about these other parties are the same things that the APC is being accused of under the Tinubu administration, including, of course, what happened in Rivers State with the declaration of a state of emergency. Till now, we don't have a report following that under a democratic government. So the same things you're saying, where the failings of previous administrations under different parties are the same things or similar that the APC under the Tinubu administration is being faced with. So would you not say that it's the same? There's credence to the accusation of a dominance that's not really due to political sagacity.
I won't agree with you. Now, let's start with the EU reports. Now, we have an electoral act that have just been signed into law. Nobody is talking about the fact that there's a clause in that act that have just saved Nigeria from producing all sorts of candidates, that have just demonetized our electoral process. And I'll tell you which one it is. That act says that political parties, that aspirants can only emerge either by consensus or direct primaries. Have we all forgotten what it used to be like in our political system in the days of indirect primaries, whereby the richest aspirant buys the ballot? That has been completely taken away. And what that has done is that there's a lot of credibility that is going to put into our political system. Now, I haven't said that. I want to go back to this issue of ADC accusing APC that, what is going on within the party? It's because going towards a one-party state. It is not true. It is not true. These issues that we are witnessing today didn't start today. 2022, President Tinubu was not the president forever. He was a candidate. As far as 2022, there was a court case. This same state chairman went to the Federal High Court in Abuja to challenge Ralph Nwosu that his tenure as chairman of the party had lapsed and that him staying there is illegal.
Sorry, Mr. George. I told you that this thing is not ADC versus APC. Like opposition versus APC. It's not just ADC.
Yeah, but
other parties, PDP, Labour Party, all of them, they are blaming APC. It's not just ADC.
All other parties crumbled because of the internal processes. You cannot blame. Look at PDP, for instance. What led to the crumbling of PDP? In 2023, when Vice President Atiku Abubakar came out to run, you know that in Nigeria there's an unwritten rule that there's rotation of presidency, 8 years in the north, 8 years in the south. The moment Atiku Abubakar got the ticket, even came out from that. There was something that killed in PDP.
Okay, Mr. George, if I may interject, just two points here. First, to speak to, you spoke about the removal of indirect primaries as a victory. But the funny thing is that the alternative is now the consensus of elites, which has totally shattered any internal democratic processes within parties. And of course, direct primaries, which you said removing indirect primaries demonetizes the process. Well, direct primaries are far more expensive a process than anything that would have been spent on indirect processes. So many people are saying that this, in fact, does stifle opposition parties who may not be able to afford the process, the lengthy and cumbersome process of going to direct primaries. But I'd like to focus on one thing, which is that I'm glad you're a political scientist, because that is my field of expertise. And you refer to political science as a science. Well, political science sits at the crux of normative theory and empirical evidence. Normative theory being philosophy. Empirical evidence being, of course, like you said, evidence, facts. Now, the facts here in political science are driven from patterns, are derived from patterns. What are the patterns we are seeing? As you've rightfully said, the opposition parties have crumbled. But in this crumbling, why is it that as they crumble, the majority of them decide to move to the ruling party, creating a supermajority in the national assemblies? Then why is it that the regulatory authorities, who you very well know as a political scientist, are supposed to be independent of any political process, are now seen to be getting involved in internal party affairs? My question to you, does the electoral regulator of a country, any country, doesn't have to be Nigeria, have the power to interpret a court judgment concerning a party? Let's just speak political science.
Let me tell you what INEC has done, and I should be grateful for what INEC has done.
I asked you if they have the jurisdiction.
I want to give you empirical evidence
rulings.
Because INEC is mandated. INEC is mandated by our constitution to deal with matters of election in this country. That is what they're created for.
Legal matters?
Now,
legal matters, yes or no?
No.
Right? That's a no. Thank you.
So what I'm saying in essence is that INEC has been mandated to conduct elections in Nigeria. And because that they have the act backing them up, they have the right to make decisions that protect our electoral system. Now, what have they done? Because now opposition is accusing them that for them to have delisted ADC, they preempted the court. For me, the answer is no, because there's a precedent. You and I are living witnesses to what happened in Zamfara in 2019, whereby APC presented a candidate who won the election by over 500,000 votes, whereas there was a court case. There was a group of some G8 members who have taken APC to court, challenging the process that produced that candidate. And INEC went ahead and conducted elections. 5 days to swearing in. I think it was 24th or 25th of May, 2019. Then the Supreme Court ruled to say, you know what, this case, we are ruling in favor of the applicant, that this process is null and void. And one single stroke, the Supreme Court cancelled the electoral victory of APC. 36 positions, 36 governor, deputy governor, senate. That was our
time is up. But does this give INEC the right to interpret a court ruling?
INEC has the responsibility. INEC has the responsibility to take actions that protects our electoral process, and that is what they've done. Because it will have been violent, it will have been catastrophic if they have waited like they did during Zamfara for elections to have been conducted, and they now come and now are based on Republican judgment.
INEC has the responsibility to respect the rule of law. If INEC is wrong, the place to go back to is the court. But what we're not sure of is whether in this matter, the Court of Appeal is already fontus official, having made clear its position that the parties should go back to the Federal High Court. But that's another level of interpretation.
All right. Well, thank you so very much, Mr. Obafemi George, for your time with us this morning.
For those 4 people that are spying on me,
on the show this morning, we're joined by Senator Abba Moro, the Senate Minority Leader. He's some of you.
So, We are talking about opposition party. It's becoming clearer now that even their own constitution only give two options to select their presidential candidate, which is by consensus and what direct primaries. The fact that they are still entangled in legal processes, the idea of direct primary is out of the window. Because I guarantee you, INEC will see they no get time to mobilize people if they go that route. Because direct primary means every candidate, every member of the political party will have a say. We have to cast a vote, and they are not going to do that as in the national convention. Rather, they'll pick a day and do it from local government level, from the ward level up. So that's not too much logistics on their own part too. So they will settle for consensus. And that's where leverage counts. With the grassroots energy of the Obidient be considered over the Atiku sophisticated network among the power brokers. He has the North as a leverage for himself. Obi has the South as a leverage. So build backing on the grassroots mobilization, the energy of the Obidient people. Why Atiku will be relying on his network. Now, can these two merge on one ticket? It's politics, anything can happen. But I won't put my money on that. the math no add up. The math no add up. So it might be a gambit, but when push comes to shove, we have to look at the maths, the mathematical possibility. The realistic of Atiku and Obi being on one ticket, or Obi and Atiku be on one ticket, however they want to frame the ticket. Myself, I would declare for them immediately if they are able to stay on one ticket. So let's try and see if we and do the math and see if that is going to be a realistic ticket, because they think that the obedient spirit is a ghost. You can turn, you cannot run. But they don't understand Nigerian soil. You don't outrun a ghost. You give it a house to live in. That's what Atiku is doing. That's what ADC is for. The obedient spirit is like a ghost. All right? You can't outrun them. They don't understand the Nigerian soil. And since you cannot outrun a ghost, what do? You give them a house to live in. That's what ADC is. And that's the realistic of Atiku's strategy. So ADC is mere a roof. So if you look at the numbers, 12 million, of course, that's a weight if you want to go by 2023 numbers that INEC gave us. Mr. James will say those ones no counts. So that's the weight of the 2023 ghost combined. So that's a landslide divided. There's a lesson to be learned there. They have spent 40 years learning lesson. People ask, how does the old guard match with the new breed? It's simple. The youth want a future, and I want a legacy. That isn't written in the ink of almost. They have the fire, the hashtag, the raw, unpolished anger, and can move mountains. But fire without heart just burn the house down. I am the heart. That's Atiku right there. Of course, Peter Obi is the heartbeat. He carries the hope. But hope is heavy thing to carry alone across the Benue and through the creeks. You will need a bridge. You will need a machine that knows how to talk to emirs and the market women alike. So you can see Atiku is leveraging them, perhaps, but leverage is what moves the world. If we don't align, the APC won't just win, they will inherit the earth. They will turn the country into a one-room apartment where they hold the only keys. So, Pundit can talk about egos, primaries, while they are looking at the face of the poster. I am looking at the map. In 2027, the maths will be final. The only question left is, are we big enough to share the victory, or small enough to keep the defeat for ourselves?
Country.
David Mark's residence. Other attendees at what has been described as a crucial opposition meeting include former Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, former Governors Rotimi Amechi, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, Aminu Tambuwal, Peter Obi, and Babangida Aliyu. Also in attendance, former Minister of Information Jerry Gana and PDP National Secretary Taufik Rapaja. Now, to provide updates on the internal crisis within the African Democratic Congress, ADC, including, of course, today's protests by party leaders and possible steps towards resolution. I'm joined now by Din Omelaye, is ADC chieftain. Good to have you on Newsnight. Okay, so first off, let's get out of the way the core objective of this protest today. Based on my intro there, you seem to be insisting that the INEC chairman should go. I wonder how exactly that solves the problem. But let's talk about the objectives of that protest today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ngozi, and good evening, Nigerians. The protest today proved to me that we Nigerians are actually ready to kick out the APC from government because there was no mobilization of any sort. The strategic information to hold the protest went out only yesterday evening.
Right.
And we are really encouraged and amazed with the response of Nigerians to show that they are tired of the APC, they are tired of maladministration, they are tired of hunger, they are tired of the ineptitude that the APC-led government have brought on us as a country. The essence of the protest is one, to say that democracy in this country will continue to be government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We have agreed that we will never allow democracy to be described in APC terms as greediocracy, which is government of the greedy, by the greedy, and for the greedy. And we have also demonstrated by this protest today that the leadership of ADC is united. You can see Kwankwaso, you can see Amechi, you can see Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and Peter Obi, and a host of others there, all together to say that we must rescue our nation from this political cancer and scavengers who are here simply to destroy our country. And we also use the protest today to say that the attack is not on ADC, that the attack is actually on democracy and democratic institutions in this country. That it is laughable that the APC wants INEC to become a parastatal or a department of the presidency. And in a sane country, we are not going to allow that we will not allow that to happen, because the truth of the matter is that President Bola Ahmed is afraid of elections. He doesn't want any election because he doesn't even trust people in the APC, that he knows the people in the APC are deceiving him. He knows that the implosion that is going through the APC right now will consume him. So he doesn't want any opposition. All right. The APC deliberately have destroyed the People's Democratic Party. They've done same to SDP. They've done same to Labour. And now the hammer is on us because he simply wants to be coronated as Kabiyesi, the king of Nigeria. And we are going to prove that there are no kings in this country.
But you seem to give so much credit to the APC and indeed Bola Ahmed Tinubu when you say he's destroyed the PDP, he's destroyed this party, and now it's a turn or a milocon of the ADC to be, to go the same way.
Because when you use...
How is that possible?
It is possible.
Is it not a case of internal weakness within the parties themselves?
Not at all.
That make it possible for the APC to be able to have its way?
Because not at all. Not at all. When you use institutions of government, or rather, when you use national institutions in the wrong way to subvert justice, to subvert simply justice. Okay, for example, I'm a lawyer.
Right.
But our courts are not in the best state in this country today. You can see a lot of judgments that is degrading. Okay, when an institution that is supposed to be neutral, like INEC,
the electoral umpire,
is coming out as a referee. This time around, not just as a referee. It's like seeing Arsenal playing against Man U, and the referee is wearing a Man U jersey. Automatically, there's no match.
But INEC is not wearing any.
They're not just wearing. They're not just wearing APC jersey. They have become the spokesperson for APC, because you have seen what INEC is doing. Simple interpretation of an order. It is something that very, very elementary, but they have gone beyond misinterpreting that aspect of the order.
What's your interpretation of what the appeal court, ruled on, the status quo ante bellum?
The interpretation is very simple. Forget the Latin.
What does it mean for you as a party?
Forget the Latin jargon. The lucid elucidation is simple.
Which is
what the situation was before the hostility, before the fight, before the war.
The question will be, when did the war start?
And what is the situation? And let me tell you this, for free, that status quo does not mean dates. Status quo means situation. It doesn't mean dates before. No, it means situation as they were before the hostility. And if you are saying situation the way they were before the hostility, on July 29th of 2025,
right,
we had a NEC meeting that Nafiu was present in that NEC meeting.
The one who is laying claim.
The one who is laying claim now. The one who has commercialized his conscience. Who he was present in that meeting where the leadership of David Mark, Aregbesola, and others were ratified. So he was present in that meeting. And after the May 29th, that not only that NEC held, INEC was present in that NEC. We taught that NEC. And immediately in August, we wrote INEC to say that David Mark officially, though they were present, though they monitored it, we wrote them to say David Mark, Aregbesola and others are now occupying position A, B, C, D.
And now
INEC certified receiving that. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
So at that point from May 29th, David Mark, authentically, because NEC is the highest decision-making body of the party.
Okay, let me very quickly.
If you allow me to just round up this.
Right.
He became the chairman at that point. So if you are saying, and Nafiu went to court on September 2nd. September 2nd.
Of 2025.
Of 2025. Meanwhile, the ratification by NEC of David Mark was done July 29th.
Before September.
Before September. Okay. So if you are saying what the situation was before September 2nd, the situation is that David Mark was the chairman of ADC. Very simple.
Okay,
and
now.
Ab initio, Nafiu resigned on May the 17th.
Okay. Senator Dino Melaye, I'll put you on break. We'll take a short breather and continue this conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Newsnight. Our conversation tonight around the ADC protests at INEC headquarters here in Abuja, and I have with me in the studio Senator Dino Melaye, ADC chieftain. Okay, so you made that point. Now, the question I'm trying to ask you now is, INEC received you today, right? Were you satisfied with their reception? What exactly did INEC give you in terms of assurances, if any? And now that you've placed your petition before them, what next?
Anyway, I will not say we were received or not received by INEC because it wasn't a courtesy call.
Right.
It's a protest.
But you laid a petition before.
Yeah, we laid some demands.
Right. What are those demands?
Yeah, the chairman presented a position, that is to say that all INEC, the INEC chairman, all national commissioners of INEC should rescue themselves from office or be sacked by the approving and appointing authority, which is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We laid that position, and Professor, one of the national commissioners, was there to receive us.
Right.
And he apologized on behalf of the chairman of INEC that he was attending an NBC event, and that he profusely apologized for not being present. And they took our letter and acknowledged it, and our national secretary got an acknowledged copy of the letter. So it was not a court-friendly call, because darkness and light don't concur.
It was a campaign rally.
So is there a plan B for the ADC or for this leadership of the ADC?
Yeah,
for the David Mark leadership, is there a plan B? And when I say plan B, in terms of looking elsewhere, say, for example, the NDC under Seraki Dixon is actually saying stranded politicians should, come over to their platform. Is that a possibility?
There's no stranded politician in ADC.
Okay.
And ADC today is the most viable political opposition we have in this country. And for us, there's no turmoil, there's no crisis. The battle to rescue this country for us is the battle of no retreat, no surrender. And we are not declining. All our congresses are going on as I speak. And on the 14th, we are going to have our national convention.
Aren't you concerned that there may be litigations? Could be booby traps going ahead with
litigation
with the congresses?
Litigation is part of politics. It's part of, we'll continue to cross the waters but our resolve to rescue this nation from the APC is total. And for plans, every political party of our ground or status must definitely have plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. But the revelations of those plans is not going to be on Arise TV.
Okay. But when you're ready, please come back.
No, definitely.
And let us know.
But I want to assure you that we will get this done. We are resolved to make them do the right thing. And we will not allow them will not allow Tinubu to be coronated. There must be elections. If he wants to win, he should come and win through elections. I mean, if you have 32, 33 governors, you have 80 to 90% of the National Assembly.
He insists that he's not after any opposition, that whatever issues within opposition is self-inflicted.
Tinubu is one of the most intolerant politicians we have in Africa. You know, as governor, he had 3 deputy governors.
Guys.
Even as chairman of APC, in 2 years now, he has 3 national chairmen. And each national chairman is supposed to serve out a term. Nobody has served out a term. When he came in, Abla Adamu was the chairman of the party. In a matter of weeks after getting to office, he removed him and brought in Ganduje. Ganduje heard his announcement on TV. Today, there's a third chairman. So as far as we are concerned, we know him and we know that, but this time around, it's going to meet his total.
Before I let you go, is it a point of defiance? You sang the old national anthem at your event today. That is Arise, O Compatriots. Instead of Nigeria We Hail Thee.
I led the Protestants to sing the national anthem because that's the national anthem we know. There's nothing this government has done that makes sense. Today in this country, everything they have done is in 1,000 naira notes. You don't even know which one you will spend when you go out. You have 2 500 naira notes.
That's a good place to
everything in this country is upside down. It's a Milocon government. But this time around, let him say bye-bye to the presidential villa because on May 29th, by the grace of the Almighty God, he's going to move out of the presidential villas, including those staying in the boys' quarters of the villa with him.
All right, that's a good place to leave it. Dino Melaye, chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, joining us tonight on News Night.
I like this season of politics. Everybody run mouth, speak grammar.
Dr. Sam Amadi, Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought, and the Rise Analyst, joins me now in the studio to look at the upcoming convention of the ADC in the light of the leadership crisis, and if the convention can really stand the test of
this
time. Welcome, Sam.
As you say, Nigeria don't pass up.
And happy Easter, by the way.
Yeah, happy Easter. Yeah, happy Easter. Yeah, but started on such a bad note in some parts of the country, not palatable at all. But let's interrogate what's at hand right now. Looking at the Court of Appeal submission or ruling, a matter still in court. INEC has come to interpret the law as, given by, or the ruling rather, as given by the Appeal Court. Will it still be wise for ADC to go ahead with its convention?
Well, okay, so there are 2 things here. ADC's reading of the legal landscape as well as the political strategy have to come together. First, there are many matters in the court. Even the party, PDP, matters are in court. Perhaps only APC is spared of this judicialization of politics. So unfortunately, that's where we are. That the great Alexis Tocqueville, the French philosopher, spoke of American politics, says no sooner there is a political dispute that it ends up becoming a legal dispute in America. That was centuries ago.
Yeah.
Here in Nigeria, it's like we're waking up to that. So every political issue with opposition gets to get trapped in court.
Even when the issues are eternal matters. As
the Supreme Court said.
The Supreme Court's ruling. Why do the court still entertain issues that the Supreme Court has adjudicated on? Eternal matters. Go and sort your matters.
But when the Supreme Court didn't give what we call intelligible criteria, so the Supreme Court says internal matter, but at the same time, if there are issues that involve determination of rights, the court will still look at it. But that's a judicial philosophy. But the key point here is, matter is pending, and it goes to allegation that the vice chairman then said he didn't resign, okay? There was a neck that dissolved the existing NWC. But however the court will decide it in the days to come, nothing from the court stops ADC from going ahead. The INEC has taken their decision based on their understanding of the status quo ante bellum. But again, INEC did not say we are authoritative. INEC has no interpretive jurisdiction. INEC is follows the law, and he has a right to form an opinion and act. But his opinion does not become a judicial authority pronouncement. So ADC has to assess risk, cost and benefit. The INEC chairman also came out on television and made reference to Zamfara and cases where failure, wrong political actions that the court later adjudged wrong could affect tickets, which is clear. If at the end of the day, for example, the court takes the view that this existing ADC Executive Council, NWC, is the wrong one and vacates them, then whatever they do, get
becomes
tainted
null and void.
Exactly. But the key point is that you do not have that kind of experience here. And what will happen here is that the court will decide ultimately, say, you know what, this matter is before us. No order has been violated. That's the key point here. The court didn't order ADC to stop taking any action. And the Court of Appeal...
That's the trial court.
The trial court. And the Court of Appeal simply rejected their argument.
Go back to the
argument to stop the case. I said, go back and face the case. So what this points to us, therefore, is that the leadership will do a scenario analysis and say, what's our best bet? Now, don't forget that the Electoral Act has mapped out a period within which actions have to happen.
Yeah.
And then it can't plead interruption as an excuse for you not to get the job done. So my reading is that the court has looked at the legal argument and said, INEC does not have... By the way, if INEC offloads you from their portal, it means that INEC says, based on court order, we now recognize both of you. But INEC's recognition does not, become a legal recognition. So if the court finally says, David Mark, you are rightly in, then INEC will be forced to upload it. And whatever you do stands. Again, the question around INEC supervising, if INEC has, you notified INEC, which the law requires, INEC
is INEC hasty in reaching that conclusion?
Absolutely. First, there was no positive order, unlike in the case of Labour Party, in the case of even the PDP, that INEC report, and people say it was too quick. There's no order here addressed.
Action by the ADC party is necessary step to assure that the rule ADC and the INEC regarding the interpretation of what this original state intend INEC stand with involving the recognition of the current leadership and action by the ADC party is necessary step to assure that the rules of law is prevented. Despite INEC position, the ADC, the Margaret faction, has going to proceed with the National Convention and Congress is insisting that internal process should not be suspended. This confidence is not merely a matter of party politics. It is a great and deeper issue of respect for the rules of law and the principle of the governance of our democracy. We cannot allow political no-man to explore their vulnerability of our party for the gain and integrity of the ADC and the democratic process in Nigeria depend on our commitment to upholding our constitutional framework for the decision of the judiciary. My prayers, as I address today, I argue INEC to place my name on the portal, are required by the status quo antebellum order of the Court of Appeal. This is not just a personal request, it is a plea for the justice, accountability, and adhere to the rules of law, the order and stability within the ADC must rise above the tyranny of political monopoly and focus on what truly matters, the democratic aspiration of the Nigerian people. In conclusion, let us not forget that the ADC was founded on the principle of democracy, exclusivity, and accountability. We urge our members and citizens of Nigeria to motivate this crisis with integrity and resolve the 2027 general election on the horizon, and we must imagine for this are committed to the idea that brought us together in the first place. Together we can overturn this challenge and reaffirm our dedication to building a better Nigeria for all. Thank you very much. I am Honorable Nafi Ubala, the authentic national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, ordered by the Court of Appeal to maintain status quo and
Thank you, party leaders here, our national chairman, Honorable Nafi Ubala Gombe, other party executive here present. My name is Right Honorable Leke Joseph Abejide, the national leader of African Democratic Congress, and the oldest elected member on this platform since 2019. Since the beginning of this party, I have been there. I have never changed. It is just last year that a new dimension brought in by the former national chairman of this party, Chief Raf Okenwosu, who resigned without notice. There was no meeting. This new national chairman that you are seeing behind me was the only party national executive committee members who did not resign. Though they are forging everything around and say he resigned, but I'm aware he did not resign.
We are here to tell the whole world what INEC did. The action of INEC for not complying to the judgment of the Court of Appeal. They listed David Mark, which is good. We commend INEC for that. And they refused to recognize Honorable Nafi Ubala as the national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, which to us, we see that is INEC is not doing the right thing. So in this matter, we now bring our complaint to INEC that should immediately recognize, apply with the court order and recognize Honorable Nafi Ubala as the authentic and legitimate chairman of the African Democratic Congress. That's why we're here, sir. Thank you very much.
ADC for all Nigerians. Anybody want to join ADC should go and follow the due process window and expect to come and overturn the owners of the ADC. Yes. We are here stand for Nigerians. We want democracy. We want democracy. We don't want anybody to come and using ADC to destroy democracy. ADC is for all Nigerians. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Guarantee is guarantee. Arise and shine.
Arise and shine, Nigerians. Thank you very much. This is we are with the whole Nigerian leadership of the ADC from world level to national level. Anybody appear here is our authentic leadership across. Thank you very much. Let me have the copy.
Legitimately to the present crop of people. So that's the kind of thing that's going on now. Ibrahim Garba, political affairs analyst, is my guest this morning. Thank you very much.
You say you never see me for TikTok. I dey try set up a background production team. Maybe when that is concluded, I go just run my mouth while they do the distribution and production and they put in shots and all those shit. You get it? So, wetin I go talk sef? Obidient do their protest yesterday, while Atiku is doing his own TikTok, is doing his own protest today. Isn't that interesting?
One democratic of what this original state intend INS stand with involving the
this grown man can't go to the court, call small boy.
Action by the ADC party is necessary step to assure that the rules of law is prevent. Despite INET position, the ADC David Maglet faction are going to proceed with the National Convention and Congresses, insisting that internal process should not be suspended. This confidence is not merely a matter of party politics. It is reflect and deeper issue of respect for the rules of law and the principle of the governance of our democracy. We cannot allow political no man to explore the vulnerability of our party for the gain and integrity of the ADC and the democratic process in Nigeria. Depend on our commitment to upholding our constitutional framework for the decision of the judiciary. My prayers, as I address today, I argue INEC to place my name on the portal, are required by the status quo antebellum order of the Court of Appeal. This is not just a personal request; it is a plea for the justice, accountability, and adhere to the rules of law, the order and stability within the ADC must rise above the tyranny of political monopoly and focus on what truly matters, the democratic.
Why they put pressure on this young man? Well, Nainze don't come of age. You come of age, you want power.
Respondent on the principle of democracy, exclusivity and accountability. We own it, our members and citizens of Nigeria to motivate this crisis.
German, I made 90 whole. Now they hold a whole nation to stand still.
More unity and committed to the idea that brought us
I made 90 whole the whole opposition, the whole country stand still.
I affirm our dedication to building a better Nigeria for all. Thank you very much.
What's your excuse?
I am Honorable Nafi Bala.
What's your excuse, Naija man?
National Chairman of the
I am you today.
Order by the Court of
I have made the whole the country. Not the whole the country.
Party leaders here, our national chairman, Honorable Nafi Bala Gombe, other party executive here present. My name is
your leaders, your future leaders. They play politics now, they deserve.
African Democratic Congress.
Tomorrow now, they don't qualify to be your president or your governor.
On this platform since 2019.
You see them?
Since the beginning of this party, I have been
when my
there,
governor Paulo
I've
was
never
serving
changed.
Tony
It is
Anene,
just
where una
last
dey?
year that a new dimension brought in.
All of us can be in the same place. I no
Former
agree.
national chairman
I
of
no
this
agree,
party,
oh, Najama. That
Chief
excuse.
Raf
We no agree. We know say make you go
Okenwosu, who
Abuja, go
resigned
be national leader.
without
We say
notice.
go your village.
There was no meeting.
Go ahead, do.
This new national chairman that you are seeing behind me was
These
the
men now they
only
could become our
party
Senate president,
national
our
executive
president, our
committee
governor.
members
Before they say
who
they no
did not
qualify.
resign. Though they are forging everything around and saying he resigned, but I'm aware he did not resign.
We are here to tell the whole world what INEC did. The action of INEC
a young man
for not complying to the,
Nigerians
the judgment of the Court of Appeal.
who are holding
They listed
Atiku
David Mark,
and
which
co.
is good. We commend INEC for that. And they refused to recognize Honorable Nasir
Holding their
Bala
feet
as
to
the
fire.
national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, which to us, we see that is INEC is not doing it rightly. So in this matter, we now bring our complaint.
I will collect tickets for you. I will collect
immediately
tickets for you.
recognize with the court order.
So,
apply with the court order.
is that you buy tickets,
Honorable
make I the
Nasir Bala
campaign for
as
you,
the
or I go buy
authentic
tickets
and
for you, make you go
legitimate
start.
chairman of the African Democratic Congress. That's why we're here, sir. Thank you very much.
Us. ADC for all Nigerians. Anybody
Imagine
want to
say
join
court
ADC
give
should go
these
and
people
follow the due
victory,
process. You
and they
cannot
went
follow
ahead and
ADC
pull off
through the window and
the
expect to
victory.
come and
2037,
overturn
they
the
beat Bola Tinubu.
owners of the ADC. We are here stand for
That will be
Nigerians.
something. That will
We
be
want
a really
democracy.
shift
We want democracy. We don't want anybody to come and
from
using ADC
grandparent
to
to
destroy
grandson.
democracy. ADC is for all
They know
Nigerians.
they drink water for that side. Oh. Those state politics get as it be. I hear now. Are you not an Edo man? Why they fear? Why they fear your brothers and sisters?
Thank you very much. This is we are here.
Why they fear your
all
brothers and
Nigerian
sisters?
leadership of the ADC from what level to national level. Anybody
Buki.
appear here is our authentic leadership across the country.
They are not Igbos. They are not Fulani. They are not Yorubas. They are your people. So just come and ask me if you want me we you want make I cook you. Let me know. I'll get where I go send you go. Let me see if this will work. Anjaman, if you are ready for, you want me to cook you, the heck? I go send you go. Can send you go to my master. You go in between. Go meet some people. You never reach. What be you never reach? Look at this man. I no show you your mate, Nana. Where they hold the country down ransom. How much you take see? How much? How many hours? How many hours? Monday, holiday senior you. So how dare you say you never reach? You never reach where? Atiku was your mate when it started. Maybe I show you another. Maybe I show you
Welcome
one of
back to the
my
morning here on Arise News. Now, for years, she talked
one
the
of my
talk. Now it's time
one of
to
my
walk
favorite
the walk. As Arise
political
News
analysts.
and analyst Dr. Chiogo
She had decided to
has announced her leave of absence
throw
from
her
the profession to join
headgear,
politics.
agele, into the
Respected and known
race.
for her strong track record in holding power to account
And I'm
and outlining
impressed.
public interest issues.
I don't know how to
Dr.
feel
Ikoko
about
said
it,
the
but
move is driven by effort and experience of
I think
governance
she
gaps
will do better.
and knowledge that Nigeria is strengthened.
She
when
is
thoughtful,
a
competent
superb
people step in to
political
contribute
analyst.
and not stand on the sidelines.
When she's
Dr. Ikoku,
moved
who is
from
from
analysis
North
to
and
presentation,
South
I
Federal
felt kind
constituency,
of
hopes to be given
bad.
a
She
chance
come.
to represent her community
Now you have to
in the
go
House
according
of
to the
Representatives.
script.
And she joins us now from our Abuja studio, Africa's 001, the Oracle.
Yeah, looks there,
Good
man.
morning and welcome to the morning show.
I like her already.
A very good morning to you,
That combination of yellow and
Dr. Ruben
China red with
Abati.
that.
My people.
Good morning, Dr. Constance. First of all, congratulations.
She's one of my
Dr.
favorites.
Ikoku, I salute your courage.
Oh,
because it takes a lot
sorry,
of courage,
I know who
a
knows
lot of
it.
self-belief, confidence,
I
to
know
say,
who
oh,
knows
let
it.
me
It's not
throw
even
my
sure.
heart
Yeah.
into the ring. Many Nigerians are disillusioned about politics. They say it's a dirty
She's
game.
one of my favorite
Then you say,
analysts.
well, it's not a dirty game. If all the good people
Niger
stand
man.
aside, then of course...
You see, when you
all
say you
these,
never reach, yes,
motopack
Constant
Arabs
Coco.
and, people
When you say you
cannot even
never
speak
reach,
their own native
I admit with that too.
will be the ones
Your children never recognize you.
Talk to us about what your motivation
Look at this
is
man.
and why the choice of I think
That
ADC,
excuse
that's the
no go
party you've
said.
chosen, right? ADC, yes. Those two
So,
by way of introduction. Yes.
If you say your children never recognize you, what did she go talk?
I mean, thank you so much, guys. It's wonderful to be with you on Morning Show this morning. And before I answer your question, Dr. Abati, I have to say that it's been a remarkable journey in the world of journalism, a profession which I said that if I have a second coming to this life, I will be a journalist all over again. Because it's a profession that has fed my soul, that continues to feed my soul, and has made life worthwhile as if you have a purpose and you're doing something worthwhile. You know, amplifying voices and informing people, speaking through to power, and basically doing the right things which helps advance society. And talking about that also, I also want to say a big thank you to the chairman of Arise and This Day Media Group, Prince Nduka Obidients, who was the one that gave me this wonderful opportunity right from This Day newspaper to become a journalist. Prince Obidients is someone that has a rare ability to spot talent and give talent what it requires and the tools it needs in order to flourish, in order to thrive, in order to do well. And that is if you want to do the work, because journalism is a profession that will make demands on your time, on your integrity, on your life, literally. And if you put in the work, it can be rewarding and fulfilling, as it has been for me. And then why have I decided to step into the political arena or the political sphere, if I may use that word? I think that for many years, I have traveled around the world in the course of this job as a journalist. And one common thread has been that I've met Nigerians everywhere in the world. And the common thread is that they complain bitterly about the country and the state of affairs in Nigeria and indeed the African continent. And my take had always been, why do we complain and we do literally nothing? Is it not better to find practical solutions to the problems that we have? So I've had that over the years in my mind. But I think the biggest step came when I did my doctoral degree in Barcelona in Spain. That journey was a phenomenal journey that became also life-changing for me. Because if you have done a PhD, those who have done a true PhD, because there is a PhD and there is a real PhD. If we have gone through the rigor of academia and the rigor of thesis, you would find that you find yourself in the wilderness, in isolation, in extreme, loneliness, where you confront yourself and you ask yourself questions about life and what is the purpose of what you're doing here and your life. And I think what came out of that process, how I emerged out of that process, was an unmissable, unmistakable clarity about the future of myself and the future of my continent. There were questions asked, there were resolutions made, there were answers that I should definitely go where the need is required the most. And it wasn't in Europe where I was living at the time. Mind you, I had lived in the United Kingdom. I had lived in the United States as Washington DC bureau chief for This Day newspaper. And I also lived in Spain. And so the answer to me was not to live in Europe and have a cushy, comfortable life. I had to go where the problems were, which is Africa, our continent, and Nigeria, our country, where I felt like I would be most useful to the people. And so I came back here, and of course, we've been in a rise over the past couple of years, and now it felt like a good time to step out from this ring, journalism, and to step into the other ring. And to your question on why ADC, when you look at the Southeast that I come from, the Southeast has traditionally been a People's Democratic region. And so what has happened over the years also is that we have had problems with the PDP, and even up till now, we have had the crisis with the party. And so within the Southeast region, we see that the PDP has diminished greatly. So it wasn't really a choice for me at this point. And then Anambra State, where I come from, you have the All Progressives Grand Alliance, which holds sway there. But ABGA is highly limited to Anambra State as it is. And so if you're thinking about your future, first in Anambra State and beyond Anambra State, it did not seem to be a vehicle that would take you far. And then we now have the ADC, which has been a coalition of different voices, some from PDP, some from ABGA, from Labour, and people from all walks of life. And at the time, it seemed that it was shaping up to be an alternative. So I thought, okay, let's try this particular vehicle.
I'm glad that you say at the time. And by the way, let me just say, it sounds very interesting speaking to you now as a guest as opposed to being an analyst here, but really wonderful to do so. But you said at the time when you chose the ADC as a political vehicle. However, the reality on ground now is different perhaps from when you chose. How do you think, or number one is that, are you still confident that this vehicle you've chosen would not enter into waters it would not be able to get out of based on INEC's decision recently? And then number two is that how, how do you think they would be able to get out of the political challenges they are facing currently, especially for candidates like yourself, based on your experience having monitored issues like this over the years?
Well, thanks for that question. I'm not a soothsayer, and we know that the political scene in Nigeria is dynamic and ever-changing, and you never know what will happen tomorrow. And that's one of the reasons why people that mean well for Nigeria should definitely come into this ring and try to see whether we can do things
So as a young person,
I do not know what is going to happen in the ADC. I think that the leaders of the party, they have an executive, and they are in a better position to decide what steps they take in order to move the party from where it is now to the point where it needs to be. However, we do not have independent candidacy in Nigeria. If not, you would have said, let's try to have that run. So you have to belong to a particular political party. I have chosen the party in good faith, hoping that it will be the platform that would give us, or give myself, the opportunity to run and represent my people. At this point, all I have to do is to watch and see how this drama plays out between the ADC and INEC.
All right, very well said. Dr. Koko, I want to go back to, in fact, I need to keep calling you 001, because on Daybreak, we call you 001. Now, you spoke about not choosing APGA, because when we hear Anambra, of course, the natural choice that one would think that someone goes for is APGA, and you're going with ADC. APGA, of course, have already declared for the president. Tell me a little bit about some of the intrigues that you've already seen at the grassroots. As they say, politics is local. On the grassroots, where are people's leanings, according to your own analysis? Because there are those who say that, well, APGA Abga's declaration for to support APC is on an elite level, but on the grassroots level, what is going on in Anambra State?
All right, we know that in Anambra State, APC is literally non-existent. I mean, they have a party, a state chapter there, but in terms of goodwill, in terms of followership, APC is literally not a party on the ground in Anambra State. This is not the first time that an Anambra governor would work for the APC by the side. When we had the former governor, Mr. Willie Obiano, he did work with the APC government in order to help them during the elections get at least 5%. But during this period of Professor Chukuma Soludo, he has been more open about working with the APC. And some would suggest that by the time he leaves government, he might even cross over to the party. At the end of the day, Abga has been a stronger fold, or a strong party in Anambra State. However, its fortunes are dwindling gradually because we know that Mr. Peter Obi, who comes from Anambra State, is very influential in the party and also dictates the tune in terms of what people do. So, for instance, in the last election in 2023, Mr. Peter Obi moved to the Labour Party, and so we had a lot of Anambra people move with him to the Labour Party. And now that he moved to the ADC, you also have seen the shifting of grounds to the ADC. So there's a lot happening on ground, but what I see is that the in Anambra State will have a challenge in the future if they're not able to fight very hard in order to win the minds and soul of Anambra people and to make sure that they deliver the results to the people on the ground.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Constance, as always, fiery, fact-based, and definitely intelligent responses to the questions this morning. We wish you all the best. And
at the governorship level,
is, supporting you and looking forward to seeing you in the House of
Representatives. Well, I didn't believe anybody else can do it. The guy where I like.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News.
Speak the truth.
As we head towards the 2027 election, opposition parties appear to be facing internal crises that continue to destabilize them. While opposition figures frequently project confidence in defeating the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, the party's organizational strength, geographical spread, and internal cohesion continue to give it a formidable advantage. However, Nigeria's opposition appears to be confronting structural and strategic dilemma that may ultimately determine whether the country witnesses a genuinely competitive electoral contest or a continuation of APC dominance. Joining us on the show to discuss the build-up to the 2027 general elections and the cry from opposition parties that the APC is not allowed in viral opposition is Obafemi George, a political scientist. Good morning, Mr. George. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Mr. George.
Yes, Dr. Abate.
A big issue in the room, the big elephant in the room, to use the proper phrase, is that Nigeria is moving towards a one-party state. And that the
narrative way Abate and his friends from media put for Nigerians has been that one-party system.
He is part of this conspiracy. Some people call it a coup against the Nigerian people. Some go further and say, well, since it looks like the outcome has been predetermined ahead of the 2027 elections, why don't you just suspend the election and proclaim APC as a winning party? What do you say about the one-party state allegation and also the dominance? What they say is overwhelming dominance of the APC. Over 2/3 of the National Assembly, 31, 32 out of the 36 states and the FCT.
Thank you, Dr. Ruben. I think that allegation is false, and I'll tell you why I say it is false. First of all, there's an unfolding trend that bothers me in our political culture. In those days, before you come out to make such an allegation, you put out the facts that any illiterate
as it tells that narrative now, force is shock
because
about
of social media, and because we have a younger generation that have very short attention, lifespan, they're not patient for details. Someone just throws out a lie and someone tweets it, and within 3 hours, 400 tweets, and it just catches fire on its own. And that's what we're witnessing.
That's
Let's
the
go
hard
to the
job of
fact
the
of the
opinion.
matter.
I'm lazy.
If you flip the coin, it's actually that the opposition haven't lived up to expectation. The issues that they've put out there within the ADC, nobody has come out to give me one single fact to pinpoint APC has been part of this. When in 2003, I'm sure you will remember, when the ruling party then stifled opposition in the Southwest and kicked out all AD governors, with the exception of Lagos State, there were facts on the table. As a matter of fact, I remember very well, there's a senior political scientist from the University of Atiku there, one Dr. Okunle Ajayi, who did a compendium of facts of what PDP then did in 2003, which was published in the Journal of Social Science early 2006. So anybody can go and read. Likewise, in 2007, when the ruling party also oppressed the opposition and found their way to win the presidency, the EU observers came and gave all the facts. And it was so bad that even the president, then President Yar'Adua, owned up to say the process that produced me is faulty. And that was what led to the 2010 Electoral Act, that, we need to overhaul the entire system. Again, my third example, in 2014, the ruling party then, PDP, compromised the electoral process in the government, in the election of Ekiti State. The facts were there. We saw video recording how a banker moved 1.2 billion naira cash. We had audio recordings of how an army general provided covering for a governor to win the elections. Those are facts. Those are allegations based on facts. All the things that ADC have been saying, nobody has come out to give one single evidence to say, this is what APC has done to influence whatever is going on. So,
except that certain issues are not about facts, about evidence, not being a courtroom matter. How about perception?
The guy is sure I didn't know about
when
facts.
you're talking politics, if there are facts, you cannot build a mountain on perception. No, you can't. It has to be evidence-based. That is why we call it political science. It's a science. It's not an art. That's number one. Number two, now let's drill down to the issue of ADC itself. And this is why I say that even the opposition party, they've not given up a good fight in terms of opposition. When the cameras are off and the lights are turned off, I am sure when they sit down like this, they will tell themselves that, I think we goofed. We didn't do enough due diligence. Dr. Ruben.
At all.
The
didn't do
ADC
nothing.
Constitution. Now this
They're waiting for the
ADC
last minute to start blaming heaven and earth
that, I think it's Article 17.
for their lack of preparation.
That every official of the party shall be elected for a single term of 4 years, and that they can stand for re-election for another term of 4 years. That's what Article 17 of their own constitution, that's what it says. And Article 18 states that no official can stand for election beyond 2 terms. Ralph Unwosu was elected as chairman in 2005. And he was there till 2025. That is 20 years. That is not just 3rd-term agenda. That's a 5th-term agenda. You don't need a lawyer to interpret that. By their own constitution,
And there's a democracy. They won't rescue democracy. Well, that's the Obidient wing.
It was illegal.
Or rescue democracy.
All right. Okay. Let me come in. So the accusation, and by the way, it's not just an ADC conversation this morning. It's opposition parties as a whole and APC's dominance.
Yeah, but they all converge under one.
That's one of the things you accused
under
the
ADC
PDP.
now.
The APC could also have been said to do that. When you talk about evidence, Governor Seyi Makinde has come out to talk about a meeting that was held with FCT Minister Wike, who said he was going to work in the PDP to work for the support of President Tinubu as a presidential candidate, and he has done that successfully. Today, the PDP is in disarray. So you can talk about when you say influence. I'm coming.
He said
I want to give you
different from
no. I want to give you a few more
evidence.
No, I want to give you a few more because you're saying, in the area of that. So that's one in terms of where you're saying that okay, the disarray is not coming from there's no connection. That's one. Number two, with APC dominance is the situation in Osun State. Osun State is not an APC state. The governor moved from PDP to the Accord Party currently, but their local government funds are being withheld based on some technicalities. This was the same thing that was done to the Tinubu administration, in Lagos State, as governor of Lagos State, by the PDP
But you said
government at
based
the
on
time.
some
And he fought,
technicalities,
and a number of
not
people stood
based on
behind him, and he would say he won
APC.
against that.
And he went to court.
I don't know how
the same thing is happening
contradicting
under his
ourselves
administration
under the same
in a
state.
state that is governed by a governor that is not under his party.
The man is
Then you
saying,
talk about
show your
inducement or
evidence
the
that
process by which
APC
it's
is
elected. The
trying
same
to
thing
kill those
you talk
parties
about
as
in
they
that
are
Yar'Adua
lived.
election. Also criticized the election that brought President Tinubu into office, saying that it wasn't free, fair, and credible. We know the Rivers situation. We saw that happen. We saw in election
It's not
results,
credible,
the
doesn't
matter.
mean
So the same things you're saying about these
APCs.
other parties are the same things that the APC is being accused of under the Tinubu administration, including, of course, what happened in Rivers State with the declaration of a state of emergency. Till now, we don't have a report following that under a democratic government. So the same things you're saying, where the failings of previous administrations under different parties are the same things or similar that the APC under the
I think not the best
administration is being
example
faced
we
with.
don't
So
make
would you not say that
or
it's
to
the same-
support this
it's-
one
there's
party argument allegation
credence to the
is
accusation
the
of a dominance
Fubara
that's not really
is the
due to
Fubara
political sagacity.
episode
I
requires
won't agree
in
with
the
you. I'll
rivers.
tell you why I won't agree with you. Now, let's start with the EU reports.
Because as soon as
Now, we have an
the
electoral
president
act
intervened,
that have just been
Fubara
signed into law.
joined his party.
Nobody is talking about the fact that there's a clause in that act that have just saved Nigeria from producing all sorts of candidates, that have just demonetized our electoral process. And I'll tell you which one it is. That act says that political parties, that aspirants can only emerge either by consensus or direct primaries. Have we all forgotten what it used to be like in our political system in the days of indirect primaries, whereby the richest aspirant buys the
Both consensus
buys the ballot?
is more expensive.
That has been
Because I just few
completely
people
taken
do
away.
the consensus.
And what that has done is that there's a lot of credibility that is going to put into our political system. Now, I haven't said that. I want to go back to this issue of ADC accusing APC. What is going on within the party? It's because Nigeria is going towards a one-party state. It is not true. It is not true. These issues that we are witnessing today didn't start today. 2022, President Tinubu was not the president right away. He was a candidate. As far as 2022, there was a court case. This same state chairman went to the Federal High Court in Abuja to challenge Ralph Nwosu that his tenure as chairman of the party had lapsed and that him staying there is illegal.
Sorry, Mr. George. I told you that this thing is not ADC versus APC. It's more like
but they all converge
versus
under
APC.
ADC now.
It's not just APC.
I don't know.
But other parties,
Only
PDP, Labour Party, all of them, they are blaming APC. It's not just ADC.
All other parties crumbled because of the internal processes. You cannot blame. Look at PDP, for instance. What led to the crumbling of PDP? In 2023, when Vice President Atiku Abubakar came out to run, you know that in Nigeria there's an unwritten rule that there's rotation of presidency, 8 years in the north, 8 years in the south. The moment Vice President Atiku Abubakar got the ticket, even came out from that, there was something that killed in PDP.
Okay, Mr. George, if I may interject, just two points here. First, to speak to, you spoke about the removal of indirect primaries as a victory. But the funny thing is that the alternative is now the consensus of elites, which has totally shattered any internal democratic processes within parties. And of course, direct primaries, which you said, removing indirect primaries demonetizes the process. Well, direct primaries are far more expensive a process than anything that would have been spent on indirect processes. So many people are saying that this, in fact, does stifle opposition parties who may not be able to afford the process, the lengthy and cumbersome process of going to direct primaries. But I'd like to focus on one thing, which is that I'm glad you're a political scientist, because that is my field.
She is fucking spot on. That's why I thought they will entangle themselves in this legal process till few days to deadline for primaries, for party to do their primaries. Court will now come out and say, oh, INEC was wrong. David Mark and co are the rightful leaders. And guess what? The party will now say, come, there's no time to organize direct primaries because of the legislation that is going to involve time and all those blah, blah, blah. So they will settle for the second alternative, which is what? Consensorship, which is the point that she's making. For spot on.
Of expertise, and you refer to political science as a science. Well, political science sits at the crux of normative theory and empirical evidence. Normative theory being philosophy, empirical evidence being, of course, like you said, evidence, facts. Now, the facts here in political science are driven from patterns, are derived from patterns. What are the patterns we are seeing? As you've rightfully said, the opposition parties have crumbled. But in this crumbling, why is it that as they crumble, the majority of them decide to move to the ruling party, creating a supermajority in the national assemblies? Then why is it that the regulatory authorities, who you very well know as a political scientist, are supposed to be independent of any political process, are now seen to be getting involved in internal party affairs? My question to you, does the electoral regulator of a country, any country, doesn't have to be Nigeria, have the power to interpret a court judgment concerning a party? Let's just speak political science.
Let me tell you what INEC has done and why we should be grateful for what INEC has done.
I asked you if they have the jurisdiction.
I want to give you empirical evidence
rulings.
Because INEC is mandated. INEC is mandated by our constitution to deal with matters of action in this country. That is what they're created for.
Legal matters.
Now,
legal matters, yes or no?
No.
Right? That's a no. Thank you.
So what I'm saying in essence is that INEC has been mandated to conduct elections in Nigeria. And because that they have the act backing them up, they have the right to make decisions that protect our electoral system. Now, what have they done? Because now opposition is accusing them that for them to have delisted ADC, they preempted the court. For me, the answer is no, because there's a precedent. You and I are living witnesses to what happened in Zamfara in 2019, whereby APC presented a candidate who won the election by over 500,000 votes, whereas there was a court case. There was a group of some G8 members who have taken APC to court, challenging the process that produced that candidate. And INEC went ahead and conducted elections. 5 days to swearing in. I think it was 24th or 25th of May, 2019. Then the Supreme Court ruled to say, you know what, this case, they're ruling in favor of the applicant, that this process is null and void. And one single stroke, the Supreme Court cancelled the electoral victory of APC. 36 positions, 36 governor, deputy governor, senate. That was our
time is up. So, but does this give INEC the right to interpret a court ruling?
INEC has the responsibility. INEC has the responsibility to take actions that protects our electoral process, and that is what they've done. Because it will have been violent, it will have been catastrophic if they have waited like they did during Zamfara for elections to have been conducted, and they now come and now based on a precaution judgment.
INEC has the responsibility to respect the rule of law. If INEC is wrong, the place to go back to is the court. But what we're not sure of is whether in this matter, the Court of Appeal is already Fontus official, having made clear its position that the parties should go back to the Federal High Court. But that's another level of interpretation.
All right. Well, thank you so very much.
You're just buying time.
For your time with us this morning.
INEC will come out and say, as the INEC, the court will come out as the INEC, David Mark, the rightful leaders of the APC. Don't finish. I just timed the buy. I'm trying to.
Welcome back to Newsday. Now, opposition parties have started pushing for a boycott of the 2027 general elections over alleged bias by the Independent National Electoral Commission and
The
purported
visit that
moves
will stay
to make
till the
President
last
Bola Ahmed
minute.
Tinubu the
Obidient
sole
no get
contender.
choice
Now, the Taminu
than to
Turaki-led
accept
PDP
the
faction and African
deputy,
Action Congress
the vice president
National
position.
Chairman Omoyele Sowore urged parties to boycott the polls. ADC spokesperson Bolaji Abdullahi said that the option would be considered by party leadership. PDP National Publicity Secretary Ini Ememobong said that a boycott would prevent opposition parties from legitimizing a, quote, compromised and predetermined process. He accused INEC and the APC of deliberately undermining opposition parties to pave way for an uncontested victory, warning that planned activities could be used to deregister opposition parties. Now, Sowore said that participation in an election lacking fairness would be pointless, adding that opposition parties should start discussing a collective withdrawal. Now, joining us from our Abuja studio to discuss this threat of opposition political parties and this potential boycott of the 2027 polls and Atiku Abubakar's pledge to respect and support the ADC presidential primary is a lawyer and activist, Maxwell Opara. Welcome to Newsday. It's good to see you again.
It's my pleasure to be here once again. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's start with this potential boycott. I mean, plain and simple, is this a step too far, or do you see it as something that may actually be taken up?
Just like you said, it's a joke taken too far. If you say that you are going to boycott the election, then if you boycott the election, what happened? Are you going to run a parallel government? If you boycott election will still go. You are making the Tinubu and the APC government, you are making their fraudulent intention very easy to achieve. So I don't see the basis for that. If you say that you are going to boycott the election, then what happened? If you say that you are not coming to vote, what happened? If you say that you are not participating in the electoral process, what happened? Would that stop INEC from doing their work? INEC will still go ahead. If it's only APC and APC as a political party and Tinubu as the only candidate, they will go ahead and declare a winner. What are you going to do? Are you going to court to say, court, stop INEC from conducting an election because you boycotted? There are some options you are expected to do. What are the options? The options is, now that you know that all the plan of President Tinubu and the APC is to ensure that they frustrate all the whole political party. They use INEC and the court to frustrate all the whole political party from being in existence, so that INEC, APC as a party and Tinubu as a candidate will be the only person in the ballot paper. What are you expected to do? People should come together, look for a political party, because we have several political parties. Now that they have frustrated PDP, they have frustrated Labour Party, they have clamped down, they want to clamp down the ADC. Look for another political party. We have, I think, how many of them? Look for them. People should come together and form a formidable opposition, so that when you are together, they will find it difficult to rig the election. They will find it difficult to have their way. Then if at the end of the day, you are pulling boots in your ward, in your local government, in your state, they were unable to have their way. You say that they can't even have their way in other states. What happened in Kano? Kano people have done it the first time, they have done it the second time, they have done it the third one. They will tell you that you will not rig election there. Even when the court were about to do funny things, they said, no, you can do it in other states, you can't do it in Kano. If Kano as a state can do it, how much more of other states in Nigeria? So saying that you want to boycott election, who cares? Someone like President Tinubu will listen to all those things. That's who cares? If you want to boycott election, you go ahead and boycott election. In this town, in this country, we have seen some people who said that they will not participate in a area council, and local council election. So political parties said that they will not. They boycotted. What happened? The election held, and winners emerged. Councillors, and whether by omission or omission, they emerged. So saying that you want to boycott election, I don't know the basis for that.
The basis might definitely be, a sense of frustration, like you've outlined. You said earlier that INEC and courts have been used to frustrate the opposition. So if your advice is taken by the members of the ADC and other parties like the PDP and the likes, and they come together and move on to another party, what's to say that this process of frustration that the ADC has expressed would not be repeated by the factors that you've listed, such as INEC and the courts?
We are saying the same thing. See, you know the person you are going to fight against. We are talking about a political Maradona, President Tinubu. You know the APC, the kind of people, you're supposed to work ahead of time. You're supposed to be careful in your dealings. You're supposed to, anything that you're doing, you have to be very, like this, what do you call it? This, the nephew that said that you signed, you did not sign. When you are doing this thing, what stops you from getting
correct lawyer be this, correct activist, I mean, no be
that human being. These people have the money.
No be GMO.
They can bribe you. They can bribe you out of their way. So why do you know
local
this?
Champion.
Make sure that you put everything. There will be no loopholes. Listen, let me tell you. The best way to
it's not influenced by money yet from outside.
Boycotting from the election is, to me, is an act of cowardness, for goodness sake. Because when the Obasanjo was dealing with Tinubu did not run away. He persevered. He was looking various options. Are you getting what I'm saying? That's why everybody's calling him political Maradona. Because if you watch the person that you're working with, you work ahead of time. Most of the times, you have to
ahead of time.
If you know that this person is the most credible candidate, you say, I go. What stopped President Tinubu that time from saying that I must be the vice president? But he allowed Professor Oshibanjo to go. He buried his political intention, looking ahead. But where this one said that it must be me, this one said that it must be me, this one said that it must be a political party. You are making things very easy for the
Nigerians,
and that's why
Nigerians really don't follow them.
Coalition of jokers, for goodness sake. We are by now, we have not been able to see the area everybody's going. This person is the most credible. Look at the reason why we should support this person. Every other person drop your agenda.
They don't trust themselves.
By now, we should have about 5 political parties who are ready. If they try to frustrate this, you move to this. If they try to frustrate this, you move to this. Nigerians are looking for better option. I have said it here the other day. If we have better option in 2027,
they don't say turn by turn. I don't know why they look for better option.
It's over. But if we don't have better option, all these things that they are doing, we don't even know who is who. Some people say that it's Obi and the Kwakwa show. Some people say that it's Atiku and this. Some people, everybody. This morning, somebody was telling me another person coming up with another political party. Doing as if they have lost control. Are these people ready to give Nigeria better option? So they said a bad workman always quarrel with his tools. So complaining. The other day, Wike was giving a press briefing. Yes, Wike was explaining how Erofai, Amechi, President Tinubu, how they connive together to take over rivers from them. What did Wike did? Wike used court to frustrate APC from having it, because Wike know that immediately Amechi have a candidate, he will not come back. He frustrated the APC using court. Only him in Rivers State. They went to another party, frustrated them. That's why it is like a PDP was only a candidate, a serious candidate in that Rivers State election, and they emerged. So the point I'm making is that as they are working, you also work ahead of them. The only thing there is that if you are not together, united we stand, divided we fall. If they are not, if opposition are not united, they are just wasting time. We are talking about the election coming in less than how many months now? And we are still talking about the political parties to use and the one not to use. So that is my position. So in summary, boycott will not be an option if they are serious, and let them also have it at the back of their mind, because there is no law that says that if you boycott the election, that INEC will not go ahead to conduct the election. No law. I don't know how they're going to do it. That's why I asked, are they going to run parallel government? Because Amechi and what's the name, Lai Mohammed in that 2014 said that if Jonathan failed to do this, that they're going to run a parallel government. So is that what they're planning? They should come out to tell us. Telling us that you're going to boycott this thing is an empty threat, and nobody should take it serious.
Very interesting points. Lawyer and activist Maxwell Opara, thank you very much for joining us on Newsday to discuss the state of the opposition and these threats or potentials of a boycott.
It's 7:36 West African time. This is Daybreak. Thanks for staying with us. Now, as Nigeria looks ahead to 2027, two major issues are shaping the conversation: stewardship and the strength of the opposition. Since taking office in 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu
There is no
has
opposition in Nigeria. We just have elites.
Fuel subsidies and
We have
the
elites who belongs to one
the
class.
FX rate. While aimed at long-term stability,
all
these
their
moves
source
have
of
brought short-term
wealth
economic
now oil.
pressure, putting his leadership under scrutiny.
Now oil
This
be their
raises
source
the
of wealth.
question of stewardship.
Every
How
one of them
well
is
the
connected to
government is
oil,
managing
Niger
the
data.
economy, security,
So
and
they cannot
citizens'
be
welfare
divided.
ahead of the next election.
They
At
can
the
only
same
divided
time,
on the
opposition
surface.
parties like the
But
People's
deep down,
Democratic Party, the Labour
that's
Party,
what
and
turn
the
by turn is all
African
about.
Democratic Congress continue to face
That's
internal
what
divisions
turn by
and
turn
weak
is all
coordination.
about.
A fragmented opposition could ultimately benefit the ruling All Progressives Congress, shaping the dynamics of the 2027 race.
Joining us live this morning on Daybreak from our Lagos studio is Mr. Felix Morka, the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Congress. He's a lawyer, public affairs analyst, and a political communicator with very deep and strong conviction, known for shaping the party's messaging and defending government policies under the current administration. He joins us to share his insights on the APC's position ahead of 2027 and the broader conversation around governance and opposition politics in Nigeria.
Every day they change our presenters. They look like a Western way. See this woman now. I mean, I will complain. America, they put on ground.
On Daybreak, Mr. Felix Morka, the APC National Publicity
Secretary. I will see woman we wear boban regard with better gele.
It appears there is a rumble in Nigeria's democracy with all eyes fixated on your party, the APC, for deliberately plotting to weaken opposition based on the consistent patterns. Leaders of opposition parties have accused your party of shrinking the democratic space based on the last week's INEC pronouncement of not recognizing any of the factors in the ADC ahead of barely a week national convention. How do you defend that under this watch of your government?
Well, thank you very much. The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they've done no such thing, as your question suggests. Our party has done nothing to interfere, meddle, disrupt, or undermine the activities of the political opposition. We've done no such thing. Quite to the contrary, all we've done is focus on our own affairs and organizing ourselves as we are required to do. Just recently we completed our, convention process. That was the culmination of all of the congresses done from ward to local government to state and zonal to then the national convention. We're doing exactly what our constitution requires us to do and what even the laws of the land expects us to do. Now, the problem here is that the opposition is not doing the same. They're simply shooting the breeze. They're not taking the time to figure out what their processes ought to be and to execute them so that they can, strengthen their position and make themselves competitive. Benga, there's a reason that this democracy is also called, competitive democracy. It's not, some type of goodwill engagement. We don't leave our business and then become obsessed with the business of the opposition and even extend any kind of assistance to them to manage their internal affairs. And the dysfunction within these parties is the real problem, not the APC, not Mr. President. The inability of these leaders who have congregated in, for example, the ADC, and who clearly appear to not know what they're doing because they are focused obsessively about winning power and don't have the time or the patience to manage their parties, to focus on their internal systems, to build it strong and build it ready to undertake political engagement. AP cannot be held responsible for that.
I don't know why. I don't even know how these people.
We are here. In the last 1 week, I've
People,
done
they
maybe
take
over
them
10
serious.
appearances. More than 10 appearances, quite frankly.
Okay, I listen to I listen to Obidient.
It's now time for
Obidient.
us to take a look at the news from
Obidient people.
Remember, this is your time to call in and share your views on any one of the big stories we will be looking at in the newspaper headlines. And joining us for analysis of this is an astute.
You cannot ask that leadership to be sustained when that leadership is what is built. So go back to before you brought new leaders, where the party was at peace with the way of that party.
Okay, now speaking about the role of INEC, another issue that came up is the fact that they have given a deadline after which they will no longer receive documents from the party. March 10th is the deadline. And what happens in this case? Because they've also said that they would not be receiving any correspondence from the ADC pending the determination of the court case. So is that not putting them in a really difficult position?
INEC is ADC is in a difficult position. Unfortunately for
Poll don't start. They don't start to bring out polls.
A rare alignment for the big three. Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. The streets of Abuja witnessed a twist of events as the trio and other prominent figures led the African Democratic Congress in an Occupy INEC protest, accusing the electoral umpire of partisanship and bias in its handling of the party's leadership crisis.
It was just a match. That's what they say. It was a demand. But this time it wasn't just an ordinary match. It was actually a demand for accountability at the very doorstep of the electoral umpire. But is this a genuine pursuit of democratic integrity or a calculated political alliance forming ahead of the next electoral cycle? Well, this morning we have members of the protest who were there on ground, and they also joined their voices. We need to talk to them this morning to find out what the grievances and the motive definitely was. We have human rights advocate Peter Obi who will be joining us later on in the course of the conversation. Also, political activist Zakari Idris. So
Peter Obi, human rights advocate, have been an activist.
Protest again, just in case you missed it. And then the PDP also visited members of the ADC yesterday. But just take a look.
Jama, this is your girlfriend. This is your girlfriend. Eh? She no go run for election for Edo State. Don't you just understand this? I don't know, maybe not me just the nothing where this opposition they do it, they make sense to me. All their protests is not just they make sense. From Showore to Najaman girlfriend. Mama peace. A light camera.
All right, let's go straight to our Abuja studios now with our guests who are joining.
I like this.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. It's good to have you.
Let's
start with the conversation. Of what
see our obedient advocates.
Yesterday, this protest wasn't announced. It wasn't planned. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. We saw the numbers.
We just call the I like the way Peter they funny pass.
Okay,
My sharp.
thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here once again.
Uncle Joe, yesterday what you saw was a convergence of persons who believe that Nigeria is still worth our time, and that if good persons do not rise up to act to save this country from imminent collapse, that Nigeria, before our own eyes, is being destroyed by forces who claimed to have fought for democracy through NADECO at some point. So
human rights
was
now.
a self-democracy movement where every person from the ADC leadership and all well-meaning Nigerians decided to take the march directly to what is supposed to be the electoral fire, but today is acting as a support group for the APC administration, to let the world know that if in Nigeria we claim to be democracy and we make democracy without a viable opposition, to remind the current Bola Ahmed
Understand
to know
on
that
the
at some point in this country you were
a platform called APC. No be political party be that. No be opposition be that. I just don't get it, man. If those in are obedient, they talk like that, I go understand. You guys converge under a political party. That's the biggest opposition party. Still, una see that
executive and legislative actors against the people. So that was what we came out to do yesterday, to send the message that in 2027, Nigerians do not want a coronation. No president who claims to be so popular and has performed so much to be afraid of a free and fair election. And our statement yesterday is that we want a free and fair election.
all this grammar how they speak, now the problem with that.
And any attempt to subvert the will of the people will be fiercely resisted by the Nigerian people. And we continue to make that statement.
Una no campaign, una no build any grassroots, una no do anything for the past 3 years. Una they can't do grass standing.
In terms of pushback, was there any pushback? Because we know how some protests have been where we'd see like police mounting police sort of pushing back. Did you experience any form of pushback from law enforcement agents?
Yes, now. News Center now, Obidient channel now.
I mean, yesterday
this guy, you don't know the you na PDP.
The Nigerian law enforcement
News Central
notorious in clamping down on peaceful protesters
and
exercise our right to constitutional right to peaceful assembly.
The other channel
it was almost an unannounced protest. Nigerians just decided to devise a
give another channel. One on that TV station. They run 24 hours to
mobilize all their tanks and armored. In fact, the kind of weapons and equipment that you do not see protecting the people of Jos and the people of Benue would have been mobilized. And then we came out yesterday, and due to the presence of the actors or persons or leaders who you saw there.
No, News Central as a TV channel. Now Obidient. No be. I don't talk of Obidient. Those people where they spend money for background though.
So we do not know as we continue our
because they know say
we hope that the forces of those who are
Bola Tinubu done they go viral all the major channels. Right.
Yesterday there was no skirmishes.
The loyalty.
We went there, did what we needed to do, and
and
we hope that the authorities will know and understand
that
if they decide to go against the people, they will be the aggressors and not the protesters.
Cannot be counted on again going forward because of
into the conversation. Now, Zachary, when opposition leaders
that's why they get you this one.
INEC of partisanship. What does this say about?
Now these people, even I think it's a cable. Now cable, say the same guy will get cable news, cable
or another political
newspaper
theater on display, as members of and supporters of APC have described it.
That's a great question. Thank you again.
All of them speak on emotion and sense and no logic. Logic comes with
the context of your question.
Depth.
People will not complain if there are no reasons.
Understanding of the system.
If there are no reasons to fight. Like I have said prior, the monkey hand.
When this one become prominent,
all actions you see both in the judiciary and in INEC, it is shocking.
That and again,
that has a professor of law, a senior advocate of Nigeria.
You see all these guys, don't be saying necessarily they give them money, that they pay them, right? But one way where they pay them or encourage them now to they expose them to this big platform, right? So build now because now them be these are the elites. You know, when you come to that youth space, young people space in Nigeria, if you want to now run down to the Obidient, they are the elites of those movement of those group. So one way to project them is to expose them to big platform that they control, right? That they control. So you need to understand the financial network of, you know, how where they support all this, we get all this platform to get the full picture. So just pay attention to the platform where they appear on, even at the international level, right? People like them, David, right? Those are the hybrid. Show within at the senior level, right? Let me let me start at the top. Show within at the senior level on the media side, though, right? In terms of creating influencers from here and there. So show within be the gold standard, right? From the activities in the streets, they carry on spot on for Sarah reporters, proper more, build followership under them, and boom, that's it. Then the evolution of that, the next stage, then the next level now, they will do doing, right? Expose them, give them a 1-year contract, help them build the background networks, right? The production teams, they get access to some kind of info and all that. Expose them to bigger platforms, right? So when they see like they would do you for that West African or international big platform. So then the next tier of the next level now then be this Victor them and these guys. They're just coming up. So and not from podcasts, right? All those honest bunch podcasts, I be whatever. These are all not necessarily say this group of people now then own them like outrightly after they talk them, but now then they finance them via advertisement, right? Show where they go, both say you know they collect ads. Even your friends say Naija man, a Naija watch, because you know they collect ads. There's a reason why. There's a reason why. Anyway.
Cannot interpret what status quo antebellum means. In fact, literally, status quo antebellum before the war. The question I would ask, by vacating
status quo antebellum
Nafi Bala and the leadership of the ADC, by not recognizing any of them, was there ever a time in the ADC where you did not have a leadership? The answer is simply no. So you see, these guys are deliberately mischievous. And for the opposition leader, you know, there's usually this attempt to give a political coloration to genuine democratic concerns of Nigeria by saying, oh, this is ADC and all of that. I am not a member of ADC, and I say it publicly. All Nigerians of good conscience, all believers in democracy, all political activists, human rights activists, people who believe in democracy in the classical sense of it, government of the people, by the people, for the people, must ensure that we make sure that there is multi-party democracy. The people are able to have choices. Even if you think those on the
they know when they're in front of camera.
Individuals, that is an argument that can be made, which I do not entirely believe in. The point is that the people still have a choice. The people must still be allowed to make a choice in a democracy. We will not allow what this government is trying to do. You can call it the Cameroonization of Nigeria, or if you like, the attempt to have a controlled opposition, the attempt to have a semblance of opposition without necessarily having an opposition. What you can call
they are not attempting now. The First Republic is built on that.
But there is election.
These people,
that they are trying to
they go just serious the chat as if they are making sense.
to call on Nigerians.
The Fourth Republic
You don't need to
started from Obasanjo, was built on what you just said, control opposition.
Election day. But in
Now, when I just come into the system, begin make noise. I think they say something important.
In terms of the protest that has happened, you say that you're not a member of the ADC. You're pushing for democracy.
Labour Party leader, there are other people.
Do you think that this protest will actually have any effect?
It's a first step in a long drawn battle to draw the Bola Tinubu administration to account. If they ever make the mistake of thinking that Nigeria will fold their hands, where they pillage the country, they turn the country upside down, the economy is down, the people are hungry. We have over 30 million people now living in extreme hunger. We have close to 140 million people living in multi-dimensional poverty. I like to put it comically, but it's not a funny thing. Poverty coming at you in many different directions. If they think that the people will fold their hands and allow it to slide, then they are effectively living it's a huge joke, and the joke is on them. You saw the numbers yesterday for a protest that was not announced.
What the fuck is he talking about, man? They try to understand
if they do not allow the will
if it's making sense
in 2027, it will be them setting themselves up against Nigeria, and they are trying to precipitate disaster. None of us pray for that. I have said this before. American president you make violent changes inevitable. We pray we do not get to violent changes, but these guys must use their common sense and use it quickly. Nigerians must have a choice. Nigerians must decide who lead them, whether they decide for good or for bad. Did we not choose APC to lead us? Are they good? So why do they think they must perpetuate themselves in power ad infinitum just naturally just balkanize everything, destroy the Labour Party from the Sims, destroyed PDP, and now attempting it with ADC. And people say, oh, go to other parties. The moment you go to, let Peter Obi and Kwankwanso and some other leaders go to popcorn and fried rice party. Tomorrow, there will be no popcorn and fried rice in Nigeria again. That is what we are facing. And I want people to understand it from this perspective.
Okay, let me go to Peter now. The ADC, as we speak currently, is having issues.
These are my new comedians. With the all laugh.
If not 4 or 5.
I will look for them.
Doesn't this become worrisome, noting that you have everyone who has thrown their weight upon the ADC?
They don't know. Election season now we did. And it's building up to it. Najama, una no go dey interested in the election. After they don't lose.
Because of the court.
You see how I tell you, I say it's not up to una to enter.
Can go ahead because it's an internal administrative process and not a police. But aren't crippling is
the way of engineering
the ADC. But I'd like you to hold on before you answer that question. I want to go on a quick break. When we come back, I'd like you to address. Welcome back. So we're still discussing the hashtag Occupy INEC protest that happened yesterday, having some of the political bigwigs who joined the protest. Atiku, Peter Obi, Kwakwaso, and the likes. And we have our guests who are joining us just studio, Peter Obi, as well as the
first, the protest. Let me go back. The protest with the color.
Even you got the question, please go ahead with the rest.
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting.
Real time.
That there is no faction in DC. The only factions that have been created within the space is the Tinubu APC and their Mupeton INEC factions that are being created with the help of the judiciary. And I also
first now real time transmitting real time now the protest. Who win that one, Zef?
Who has also laid claims and has made allegations.
So now one party system that they protest. As soon as they finish one party, which one they will go again?
Right now there are factions in all parties. Even more interesting.
They will protest against the consensorship. Now that one will carry them good commodity for ADC.
Instead of we saying should ADC be worried, as a Nigerian, Mr. Joe, are you not worried that every party that is viable opposition to the current ruling party cease to be connected or have these issues of, factions. The same thing that happened to the PDP. Today, you have a minister who is serving in the cabinet of the APC, who was saying your state to have told the president that I will hold PDP for you, is holding a faction of the PDP while serving under an APC administration. Labour Party that was
but that's not a crime now.
Of the Peter Obi in 2022 to 2023 election somehow had a faction. And then is it more concerning to you that the same INEC today that is acting like a Tinubu support group decided to, even when a court had said clearly that the Nenadi Usman leadership
National Assembly Tinubu way, okay.
It took months and journalists like yourself to begin to prevail on INEC before they took out the Julius Abure name from the Labour Party website. And guess what? When they took out Julius Abure, they left his phone number there. It begs the question, what exactly is INEC? Are you the electoral wing of the APC, or you even pretend to act as a neutral electoral umpire? And then today we are seeing it with ADC. So if you put all of this and you thread it together, if the ADC or INEC is saying that there was a court judgment as far back as March 12th, what was INEC waiting for until people...
I like their energy, though.
And then you see the heat and all the pressure that is coming together in the ADC. Suddenly, you remember that, oh, there was a court judgment that is supposed to go back to status quo. And what do you explain as status quo? When even from your own documents that you put out, you clearly observe the process that saw the David Mark-led leadership in the ADC. So, Uncle Joe, as it is today in Nigeria, it is a deliberate assault at every democratic institute. And the only reason, an explainable reason, is because the current president knows that they are a failure. There is no country where the votes of the people count, where leaders will act as recklessly as what we see today. A president visited a state that more than 20 persons were killed and stayed in the airport and said, because there is no light, I have 10 minutes to spend, I'm going back. Guess what? That president is supposed to be the head of the City Boys movement. Imagine the head of City Boys who is afraid of going into the city. Rather, they bring victims of insecurity whom you fail to protect to come and meet you as a monarch. And today you are still afraid of free and fair election. Enough of the shenanigans. Okay. Nigerians deserve a democracy that has opposition, and in 2027, the will of the people must prevail.
The funny thing is that how many months to election when I never get the opposition candidate? Like, it's just
look at the roll call.
Like, these people know they think this is an arrangement.
Until recently, he held different political offices.
Now they condemn the
current
only candidate. Okay, what is who is the alternative?
It wasn't like they did something extraordinary. So all this fight.
If even Nigerians no vote for Tinubu, who will they vote for?
The same politicians.
If at this point in the game, they never figure that out, then there's a problem.
They
I don't lose already.
Don't try something fresh, something new, or look for new crop of politicians.
That's another great question. Where some people want us to reinvent the wheel, but I do not have that kind of talent and competence. You see, if you resurrect the late President Muhammadu Buhari in Nigeria today, and you put him on the ballot against Bola Tinubu, even as bad as we thought that administration was, the resurrected president will trounce Bola Tinubu in this election. The reasons are very
simple. Good luck is there now. Why una no need to resurrect Good luck? He's still alive.
You will not have, we are now officially
this talk rubbish.
140 million multidimensionally poor. Over 30 million.
But my own will say, man, how do you sleep when you don't talk like this finish? No, it's not nonsense you talk.
From the northeast and parts of the northwest, that even in south, out where I come from, they are picking people off their homes like you are picking snails off the back of a tree. The traditional rulers are being brought out from their palace and murdered in cold blood. That happened in Ondo, so it will look as if I'm making a vague statement. In a Ebonyi state, the father of a former deputy governor, whose principal as governor is now a federal minister, was kidnapped and unalived in very painful circumstances. And people are still worried about. Look, even the man who ran Nigeria, Bola Tinubu has taken Nigeria back to maybe 1980 was beautiful. At least 1980, my parents told me they ate chicken in Uniben. Today, you can't even eat eggs, not to talk of the chicken that lays the eggs. These are the realities of Nigeria. So yes, you may have leaders who in time past, you have your reservations against, who you think they have not done
they run their mouth
to public office. You may have certain leaders you are not comfortable with.
and Nigeria blame.
You still put the array of politicians in ADC. These are
you are
the
blame.
array of politicians in APC. You will see that the difference is clear. It's like night and day. It's like a morning and evening. All right. So, in a nutshell, to answer your question, Nigerians may have reservations against the present political actors in ADC. That is entirely within their rights to do. But on top of that, the most important factor is that Nigerians must have a choice. Let's even say we are choosing between two individuals we do not like. Nigerians should be able to choose the one they like in between those two. It is not in
So you see say they are just speaking for the elite. I don't be waiting that they condition you not to do with that. They will select themselves out. You know, you wanted the choice, Abi. In the name of say you must have a choice. So just bring Tinubu, a former president, come out.
If we do not feed their
Just to have a
let them out
choice.
of power. Instead of them fighting,
So what is a choice?
you still have 1
These
year.
people are fucking just. I know just don't know. They don't they reason. They don't they sit down and
A
think.
number of months to January when is the election. Go back home and work.
Showore has a party that is flourishing. He's a presidential candidate. He's an alternative. He's a choice.
Society, people who the most
But you not prefer to choose among the bad leaders that we've been having over the years.
Transport to come to Abuja to lobby for jobs, for appointments, for security, for roads.
When I was young, they make noise for studio, thinking that you are making sense.
And Asokoro, on behalf of the Nigerian people are entitled.
Nigeria have a choice. Nigeria have been having a choice. Showore has been. This is not the fourth time. Showore they will be third time. There is a choice.
Is APC good? Now APC is worse. It's worse than the PDP.
But when I want the same men, because now then they put on our bills.
In the next election, Nigerians must.
Now then they make way for una to come charge for platform. Una follow Showore, una no go feed the news center. Una no go there Arise News. Una no go there Honest Boy.
What's the current state of things with the
party? In fact, even Dr. David 90 Minutes Africa said, una no go there. No, that one. Dr. Dameji, no. Is a Democrat when it comes to that.
That's a great.
So you understand? They say there's no alternative. They must have alternative. They must have alternative. Showore has been an alternative.
Supervisory does not.
Showore has been an alternative. She is still an alternative. He has his political party. He's still intact. If I don't, he's been in control of his party now for X amount of years. So, but now he say no. Even though now worst of the worst, Nigeria must have his choice. See, these are the youth influencers. The fact that he made that statement out loud, it's just fucking crazy. Yeah.
So, but we chose them anyway, so we have to live with the reality. In the next election, Nigerians must choose. If we choose ADC, so be it.
You see?
Nigerians must be allowed to make their choice. Whether you like the choice or not, no problem. We choose the APC. Is APC good now?
So
you cannot be eating in Metama and Asokoro on behalf of the Nigerian people.
You see why these people they get traction.
Nigerians must be allowed to make their choice. Whether you like the
because they no get brain.
Is APC good now? APC is worse. It's worse than the PDP. So, but we chose them anyway. So we have to live with the reality. In the next election, Nigerians must choose. If we choose ADC, so be it.
See? It's in our brain. If you choose ADC, so be it. But they say Nigeria must have a choice. I say Nigeria no get choice at all. I say Bola Tinubu. So this whole idea, I think Jafar, they make the argument over time that the whole point of the Nigerian elite is to make Nigeria a two-political party system. That is their goal. So when they see that they bring people like this, they come make noise for Nigerian young people face. It's the whole point. It's to help build that two political system culture. You see what's in the talk. He say he no belong to ADC. Right? But he's speaking for ADC. Nigeria must have his choice. If not be APC, it must be ADC. Sure, he's a choice, has been a choice, it's still a choice. And I believe it will continue to be a choice. So now when Mr. James is making a point for young, saying that the idea of elite or people they destroy the system has nothing to do with age. This is exactly what he's talking about. It's like young people who they speak, who are pushing the narrative of their grandfathers. Are no difference.
Claimed that the APC, or rather INEC, is laying landmines for it to prevent it from fielding a candidate in the 2027 elections. What's the current state of things with the party, especially because INEC has said that they will not accept correspondence from your party pending the conclusion of the case in court? What is the current situation? What are the next steps for your party? Should this, protest not lead to your desired outcome?
That's a great question. First of all, the role of INEC, the relationship between.
But he's saying no be APC, he no belong to ADC now.
Does not mean INEC will go into the internal administration of the party.
Not
so
political activists
and members of ADC to go on with every single business they have. INEC is not the court of law. If INEC has decided to misinterpret the judgment or the pronouncement of the court, it is entirely up to them. So the processes, the internal processes, the Congress, the primaries of ADC, they have to, it has to go on as it has been planned. Let it become clear when ADC is a presidential candidate, INEC is not interested in conducting an election between APC and the other part. Then we know that this is INEC, and then we know how to handle INEC. And let me be very clear with you. The protest will achieve its result. If they do not listen to the Nigerian people, they are calling for more protests. And if they still do not listen, they are now calling for what none of us pray for. And we keep saying it because they have to come to the realization that what is the bulwark between the Nigerian people and the government today is the belief that we still have a credible opposition that can win and take us from this government that is completely inept and misdirection.
It's sure not credible enough. I don't think. I see all these people say it's sure not credible. Is it not an opposition? How this why you guys making case for Atiku and Obi and the rest of them? Not the same thing. Showore has been a credible opposition since 2019.
It's a simple matter. And it will be on them. We keep saying it will be on
them. Like this?
I want a peaceful, democratic, progressive Nigeria that answers to the majority. A government.
I don't even think you know the meaning of all these words where you just use.
Who is calling for problems? Is it Nigerian people or those who are occupying Aso Rock and elsewhere?
All right. I want to bring in Peter at this point as well. Peter, I want you to respond to the same question. And that's because the party has said that set the 10th of May as deadline for receiving correspondence. So what happens if, and INEC has also said that they will not be receiving correspondence until the conclusion of the case in court. Do you have an accelerated date? Do you have a date yet? We hear that there's been an accelerated hearing that's been applied for. Do you have a date yet? And what happens if you're not able to meet the May 10th deadline?
There is an accelerated hearing and the court processes are going on. But Olive, I just want to call your attention and for you to just for a moment reflect on the statement, because that statement you referenced that when they file candidates, they are likely to be taken out by the courts for certain reasons were made by the INEC chairman. Is it not concerning to you and any right-thinking Nigerian that the INEC chairman, who should be very busy and preoccupied with issues of elections and how to conduct a free and fair process, is somehow arrogating to himself the powers of the judiciary and is able to make statements with guarantees to himself as to what an outcome will be with the judiciary. Is Amupiton Joash a judge in Nigerian court? Is he seated on the election tribunal?
All these people, they listen to themselves at all. INEC has the final say who win and lose election. Or INEC determine who win and who lose and win election. So if INEC disqualify you, that should be final. But now, that's why I thought that they use them in a way that they don't even know that they are speaking for the elite, right? So if you are not saying INEC doesn't have the power to actually come to that conclusion, you should go to judiciary. So why are you protesting against INEC? If you actually believe at the end of it all that judiciary is going to solve your problem anyway.
Much about what will be the probable outcome of a judicial matter when INEC as a body has a supervisory role over political parties and not a managerial role. So that is where Nigeria is right now, and we are talking. But one thing is clear, and this message should be sent very clearly, and even Amupiton must understand. Nigerians endured one of the greatest tragedies of leadership in INEC under this Mahmoud Yakub-led administration that gave us glitches. And 10 years after serving as INEC chairman, retired with a legacy of glitches and was then taken to become an ambassador out of this country. Amupiton must know that the current INEC leadership will not be allowed to go free if you try to scuttle the ambition, aspirations, or the mandate of the people. In 2023, we were asked to go to court.
But you go court now.
Is still reversing positions of the court, meaning we are trying to see another direction of how you want to end up in the court. Nigerians are saying no. This time around, we will solve our problems at the polling unit, and the right and actual results will be announced at the polling unit level because we will vote and defend our votes. So if any person is thinking that you want to weaponize the judiciary against the people, it will not work. Whatever that INEC is doing in connivance with the APC and also with the aiding and abetting of members or actors in the judiciary, you must know that Nigeria was in existence before ADC, APC, and there will be Nigeria after APC.
These people are the authority. When I did this talk, man, they always punish me.
ADC has a right to continue with every action that it has taken and that it continues to take. It will meet all the deadlines and all the dates as every other political party. But any except force trying to ensure that the ADC does not get there will be resisted by the people, because INEC is not and must not be allowed to be a political support group for the APC and the Tinubu-led administration.
Okay. I mean, just as we wrap up this conversation, because right now we also want to ensure that we're joined by a former PDP member.
I like them, because last they will be rewarded. And that was a love followership for, you know, as they get older, they go absorb them into the system.
You guys
just call him Ufoma.
You see why we have to manage Benga on this set. How can you call him Ufoma? Benga is a problem. And we're thinking of changing him on this program, by the way. Anyway, I want to show you two videos. The first one, many have said is a doctored video. I don't know if you've seen it. It said during the protest, some handouts were given, you know, with some small malt and small chops for people who came to protest. They gave some money. I don't know if our producers have that video. We can put it out there so you can see that video. The second one was also another video. Okay, this is the first video. It shows, you know, a man doling out cash. These are the people they said they came to protest. Although this has been flagged by our professionals in-house as AI. The reason is because the man is wearing the hat, but on his, you can see he has the umbrella of the APC.
I said the evil that APC cannot do does not exist. There is nothing you will not see on
Umbrella no be APC now. Umbrella na PDP. What the fuck?
Throughout yesterday, did you see anybody around a hall like this? What
Wait a
of this
minute.
did you see around the protest? Is it not?
Wait a goddamn minute.
I said the evil that APC cannot do does not exist.
Wait a minute.
The reason is because the man is wearing the hat, but on his
Wait.
The reason is because the man is wearing the hat, but on his you can see he has the umbrella of
Umbrella is for PDP. No, it's not APC. Am I Akweto? If anybody can hear me there, please help me out here. Am I seeing double? Am I hearing double? What is it? Say then the video was doubted because of maybe then John, cut and John. But now what the man is wearing, that's PDP. And they are faction of PDP who had become to ADC. So I don't get it. Atiku is their leader.
This is the first video. It shows, you know, a man doling out cash. These are the people they said they came to protest. Although this has been flagged by our professionals in-house as
Your professionals are quack.
it was flagged. The reason is because the man is wearing the hat, but on his, you can see he has the umbrella of the APC.
Umbrella is PDP. APC is broom.
Does not exist. There is nothing you will not see under this government. They should be organizing NSPPG.
What the fuck, man?
Yesterday, did you see anybody around a hall like this? Which of
You
these
guys
persons did
kidding
you
me?
see around the protest? Is it not the APC that has been moving around? You see pictures of the NURTW factional
Are you
chairman,
fucking
MC
kidding me?
Oluomo, PPG. Where in
What the
Reason is
fuck,
because the
man?
man is wearing, you know, a man doling out cash. These are the people they said they came to protest. Although this has been flagged by our professionals in-house as AI. The reason
it should be.
It was flagged.
What
the
the
reason is because
fuck,
the man
man?
is wearing the hat, but
That shit right there is fucking umbrella. That's PDP. Who be una
on his you
team
can see he has
engineers?
the umbrella of the APC.
I said
Fucking
the
APC na broom.
cannot do does not exist. There is
Oh
nothing you
my
will not see under
fucking
this
god.
government. They should be organizing NSPPG. Where
No.
throughout yesterday did you see anybody around a hall like this? Which of these
Come
persons did you see
over
around
there.
the protest? Is it not the APC that has been moving around? You see pictures of the NURTW factional chairman, MC Oluomo,
Oh
doling out
man,
cash to people,
shoot.
giving certain stipends to people.
We are
And this
finished.
is a body
Niger man.
uses to
These
carry
are
sensitive
younger
materials
brothers.
in Nigeria. But because the APC
These
has
are
been
younger
thriving
brothers.
on propaganda, unfortunately, you cannot replace performance with propaganda. You cannot propaganda your way into performance. And that is why they begin to resort to this kind of cheap political points. Look at the shameful rhetoric that you are putting out, a video of a person brandishing the umbrella of the APC. We don't even know what party this
Yo,
person represents.
APC no get umbrella.
Exactly, this is going on, whether it is an APC church convention, because you know they are used to hiring bishop and hiring everything. So this even looks like one of their services, an APC.
Are you fucking serious?
Another video.
Nigerians came out peacefully to protest, and there is no need to
Are you
follow it with
fucking
any
serious,
we
man?
want to save democracy.
Okay, let me show you another video again. This video shows yourself
Can't
and
believe
Mama
this
P.
shit.
They said you were hanging out with a member of the APC that before the protests, in quotes, let me read one of the comments, say, "Una go first collect," in terms of that you guys will take care of yourselves, in terms of your pocket, before you now come out and show to Nigerians that you are supporting them, but you are taking care of yourselves. That another one said they don't know the kind of work you guys do. After you've gone around, collected money, even from the APC, you come out and, you know, and that's the video there. So can you explain what's going on here?
It is a very good thing you play this video, and it is important that even in media houses are able to fact check to know exactly the truth. That video you are playing is a clip from last year, November. The person you are seeing, that place you are seeing is the National Assembly Complex. It is the office of Honorable Lamiju Alawa Akala. He represents Ogomosho and some other constituencies in the Federal House of Representatives. He is also a member of the Young Parliamentarians Forum. And if you want to look at the mischief of people, because when I see those videos, I laugh. Why is it that in a 15 seconds video, you played songs throughout, you did not ensure you listen to what is being said there? This visit happened a day after an electoral reform conference that held at Abuja Continental, where the Young Parliamentarians Forum partnered with IAGA, partnered with KDI, including the Canadian High Commission on the electoral bill that was before the House, that ended up with the House giving us real-time electronic transmission, and the Senate version was different. And then on the invitation of the Honorable, for us to meet with every member and the DG of the Young Parliamentarians Forum, who, by the way, are more than 100 House of Representatives in that parliament, for us to ensure that the agenda or the parts or clauses of our demands are pushed by a bipartisan group of lawmakers. So in the question will be, what is the, in meeting with APC lawmakers or politicians? The Senate President who passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, is he not an APC politician? Are you expecting Nigerians who are agitating for electoral reform to only meet with Labour Party or PDP politicians? Is that what we are supposed to do? And so when you meet with people across border and ensure that you want to push exactly what are your aspirations, what exactly is wrong with that? Or are you trying to say that every person in the APC is a criminal? So when you meet with them, it is either you are going there to collect bribe because you know that they have the capacity to give bribe. I think these are the questions that you should ask. This place is not a private venue. It is the office. It is a National Assembly complex. Before you go in there, you will see people. Security will clear you. So it was not a meeting in some obscure place. And this is a person who is a member of the Electoral Reform Committee. So what exactly is the reason? And it happened since last year. So what exactly is the reason why you cannot meet with people? We attended the electoral reform town halls. They were headed by Senator Simon Lalong. The chairman of the House Committee is Senator Honorable Bayo Balogun. They are all APC people, and we meet them. When we went to the electoral reform town hall that happened some weeks ago at the same Abuja Continental, the APC national chairman was there. He saw us and even called that he wanted to say hello. And then we went there and they told him why we were here, and we are insisting. So what exactly is the issue? Okay, imagine the risk we are taking to go about all of this and continue to stand against the ruling party. Do you know the personal risk that it takes to do what we are doing? And that if you can even go and meet these people and come out to criticize and work against them in the way that we are doing, I think that we should be fair to ourselves as Nigerians and focus on the real issues.
Thank you for clearing the air. It's very important. Since we had you on the show, we had to ensure that we got you speak to those footage.
Just before we wrap up, I would like Zachary, my final question to Zachary Yusuf is this. There's a group of Nigerians, quite a significant number of them, that are disillusioned with everything that is happening in Nigeria, and we've seen the pattern of voter apathy. Electoral cycle after electoral cycle, the numbers reduce because they say, the opposition is a bunch of recycled politicians, and then they see all this drama that's playing out with INEC and with opposition parties, and they don't want to be part of it. What's your message to them? And then there are millions.
I have been consistent with my messaging to those who are losing interest or losing trust in the political process. I usually say, if you say you are not interested in politics, politics is interested in you. Yes. If you say you are not interested in elections, elections are interested in you. If you say all politicians are evil, so you will not elect anyone, evil people will lead you. Yes. And to that extent, I am strongly suggesting that in this next election, we must take the bull by the horn. We cannot fold our hands and allow a situation. If for what it is worth, we should be able to put in a government and remove a government whenever and however we want it. And that's the power, that's the eventual power.
People are not creative. They're not getting anything to talk.
And at the same
different
time,
from
just
last year rhetoric.
That You cannot afford to give up on the electoral system. You cannot afford to give up on elections. No matter how bad it is, the worst of a democracy is still better than the best of a dictatorship. And that is why we must continue to iterate our democracy to such a point where it answers to the people. The problem with the Nigerian democracy
When I went from consumption to
people,
production
it only answers to a few people in government. If
to
we have
democracy,
to find a way to domesticate it so that it answers to the
so
general
good.
public. And then the video you played about people taking money. Usually, you know, Peter is a gentleman. He likes to explain it. Me, I don't explain this kind of things. If APC can give rice, the person giving money, is he not doing better than those giving rice? And the people come to protest. Let's assume that was even a video, because it's not a video, it's clearly doctored. If people come to protest and you give them drinks and you give them food, is there anything wrong with it?
How is the video doctored,
because no, clearly you see the shore is PDP, the cap is ADC. I'm sure if you check his pants, it will be APC. So the guy is multi-party pan-Nigerian. He's the real Democrat. So, but in all of this, we don't need to. Do you think angels are going to come from heaven to change the country? You think you are going to manufacture some saints? Like I said before, for you to be a saint, you need to die first. I'm a Catholic, and the process of having saints is called canonization. If you are not dead, how do you expect to be a saint? There are no living saints. So in a nutshell, all these are minor, infinitesimal distractions. And people should realize that engaging government is not funny. In fact, there are Nigerians, especially on social media, especially on Twitter, I'm sure these videos came from Twitter. For you to fight for Nigerians, you have to fight certain category of Nigerians. There are Nigerians who are not in government, but are ultimate beneficiary of this crisis and confusion going on in our country. You will never expect those to remove their hands and just let you take away their means for deliberate.
Zachary,
We want it that works for all Nigerians.
This is an unending conversation because, like you said, or like Peter has said, that the protests will continue if you not see results. So we'd like to have you gentlemen join us back again. But what we want more than anything, like you said, is that the worst of democracy would even be better than the best of any form of autocratic rule. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us.